Yo, what's good? Lucky Lefty podcast, the ONORA boys. Half of us are in the building. Left will be along soon. It's Thursday. So, production meetings, CBS. He's covering the Liberty game this Saturday. The Liberty game this Saturday. I forget who they play. So when he jumps on, I'll make sure he gives you guys the matchup so you can check him out. CBS Sports Network. And I believe they have the 2:30 kickoff. So you can watch Notre Dame Clemson at noon and then switch over and listen to Left give the call on CBS Sports Network. We have
We're
with
playing
us
Louisiana Tech at 4. Louisiana
this
Tech at 4. So, yeah.
Louisiana Tech and Liberty. We have a good brother with us. We have to bring him into the fold because it just the last time we had him on, right before the North Carolina State game, everything was just so natural.
Yeah.
Hey, we might be putting together some type of culture podcast down the line as well. So we'll let you know. My guy, Locked On ACC, Locked On Wolfpack, co-host Ken Gibbs, right here on the Lucky Lefty podcast. Man, KG, how you feeling today, bro?
Oh, I'm great. I'm excited to be here. I'm gonna just warn you now. Don't be careful calling me a good brother of the fold. Now, as you can see in the background here, I'm a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. You know what I mean? We the bar. You know, the fold belong to the bros. And, you know,
the bros. I
like
get it.
You know, I love
get
1911. I just got the right year. That's all. I mean, the right month. That's all. You know, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, you know, I'm always excited to be on the Lucky Lefty podcast, man. You'll believe. Y'all keep it entertaining. Y'all keep it factual. Y'all tell it like it is, like it ain't, what it could be and what it can't. And so I'm always going to be happy to talk anything with y'all. We could talk paint drying, and I'll be excited to talk. I'll tell you what, Sherwin-Williams ain't got that bear like Home Depot got that bear if we talk about it. So let's do it.
Let's get it done. Hey, how are you with the cane?
Oh, man, listen, let me tell you something now. Let me tell you something.
Let me keep it a buck. Mm-hmm. Growing up, the Candy Stripe cane was something I strongly considered. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I strongly considered it.
Absolutely.
It, you know, just decided just not to go that direction, period.
Yeah,
ultimately.
I understand.
But that cane worked for I've always been envious of dudes that are elite at that cane work.
Let me tell you something. My pros from the 80s are still involved. Our charterers, the people who chartered the Kappa Psi chapter. Shout out to all those great brothers. Shout out to Crawford Lane and Company who chartered this thing. The brothers of T.O., the brothers of G.O., the brothers of D.G., all those brothers who chartered this thing, who got it going. My front, his father, Wayne Jarvis, one of the first men to ever cross through this chapter. They are very much so still involved in the chapter, very actively. So they make sure that, you know, that legacy of twirling and all that's passed down. That's passed down. So
that's what I'm talking about. Hey,
listen. That's a different conversation to have. It's never too late. Never too late, but that's a different conversation to have. That's a different conversation to have.
Well, that's the other podcast
exactly,
we'll be curating in the future.
For sure.
The last time I had a conversation with you after the North Carolina State Notre Dame game.
Yeah.
And both of us were not happy with the offensive coordinators coming out of that game.
Absolutely. And in hindsight, I would probably revise my unhappiness with the offensive coordinator a little bit to be unhappiness with our quarterback at that time. Because after watching that tape more thoroughly, there were some plays where I'm like, it's there. It's there. You can't. The OC can draw up the greatest play design on earth. If you don't execute it, you don't execute it. And don't get me wrong, Notre Dame has some amazing corners. Y'all have some phenomenal cornerbacks. I think y'all got two guys that are going to play on Sundays. Number 5 in particular, I believe he's not only is he going to get his name called high, I think that he's going to make a Pro Bowler too. I think that he's in that Desmond King. I think he's in that Desmond King territory in terms of like he could have a stretch where he ends up being a top 5 to 10 quarterback in the league. I'm not sure how long that stretch will last, but I think he could have that type of stretch. With that being said, I struggled with a 6-year guy being unable to read the difference between cover 3 and cover 2, the difference between cover 2 and cover 6. Like this is not. I'm never mad at a young guy for making those reads and making those mistakes. I'm never mad at a young because this is new. You were slow dancing at prom 6 months ago. Like, I'm not going to expect you to have college football figured out. Brandon Armstrong is in his 6th year. And so his struggles were like, what are we doing here in terms of I can deal with you being less physically talented than the other guy if you're older and wiser. You're lacking the wisdom, brother. But, NC State has decided to switch quarterbacks to MJ Morris since then. In his first game as the starting quarterback, they put up their season high of points in terms of offensive production. And so this is a situation where I'm looking and I'm saying, I understand some of Notre Dame's anger with y'all offensive coordinator, but I'll tell you what, you can't be too concerned coming out of Pitt. You can't be too concerned after that game. I mean, they put it on them. To say they whooped them like they stole something is an understatement. That was one of them. Grandma tell you, go get the switch, and you bet not get the wrong one type whoopings right there, because that hurt me too much.
So I want to stay with the North Carolina State game, because one of the statements you made is that you felt like Notre Dame's offensive coordinator, Jared Parker, loved to repeat his play calls.
Yeah.
Right? And eventually, I think it came up with him in that tough 4-game stretch of primetime games. I think that caught up with him against Louisville. But just talk about that and kind of break down like how you caught on to that in the North Carolina State game.
Yeah, so in the North Carolina State game, here's the thing about offenses that a lot of people don't understand, okay? A lot of people make fun of fans and say, oh, fans don't know what they're talking about. A lot of media members, rather, make fun of the fans and say, oh, fans don't know what they're talking about, saying that all these plays look the same and they just don't know what they're talking about. Here's the reality. Some fans don't know ball. Some fans do. The thing is, they're absolutely right in terms of there are some offensive coordinators who repeat plays a lot. And there are different types of repeaters. The worst repeater is the person that repeats because I have a static, like, all right, this is what I'm supposed to go to, and that's bad. You shouldn't be doing that. You're an adult. You're making millions of dollars or at least hundreds of thousands of dollars to do this. You need to be better. But the best ones are the ones who repeat on success. And I thought that y'all offensive coordinator was one who repeated on success because he had some schemes that were successful against NC State, and he ran them multiple times. So, for example, we all know why banana split. We all know that play. We all know you fake it to the back, full back to the flat. You got somebody either pushing a vertical or pushing a high corner. We all know that, right? Why banana split? That's all day, every day. We can call that out immediately when you see it. And he repeated that multiple times against NC State. The problem is he repeated multiple times against Louisville as well. It wasn't successful. It was. You're not supposed to. If it didn't work, Aaliyah, God rest her soul, she's long gone. If at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. It's not for play calls that you're running 3, 4, 5 times a game. At some point in time, you need to look up and say, okay, they've scouted that play. They got that play on lock. What's our counter to that? Normally, when you think of the wide banana plays, your counter off of that is a throwback shake route by the tight end to where you think that the tight end is going vertical and driving to the outside, but in reality, he's either doing the slip block to where he's acting like he's blocking, and then he's taking off across the field, or he's running a shake route that gives you the exact same look as that deep corner, but immediately after that first step, that next foot, that outside foot is planting, and they're cutting immediately back to the middle of the field, where if you're sitting on the corner, oh, you're going to beat that by a mile. You're that safety that jumps it, corner that jumps it. Players are fast, and some guys have makeup speed to make that up. The ability to make that up would not only make you an NFL guy, that's like a Pro Bowl Hall of Fame territory, like Hamilton when he ran all the way across the field to intercept that ball against Florida State. That's the type of play you'd have to make to beat that shake route if you're committed to the corner. Like that's what that looks like. And it just seemed like he never called the counters. He never called the plays that were like, okay, we're great at running power. Now what do we come off power with? Oh, okay, they've seen us come off power with that. Well, let's go ahead and run that. Everything looks the same, except, well, wait a minute, where'd that fullback go to? That type of deal. And it just didn't happen.
It was funny because they had a 4th down. I don't know if you actually watched the film or saw it again. They had a 4th, and I think it's about a 4th and 4 or 5 against Pitt early last week. And we had heard Marcus Freeman say that Sam, which was shocking, about a couple of weeks ago in the press conference, someone asked how much leeway that Sam Hartman,
Right.
6-year player,
Yeah.
how much leeway does he have to call checks at the line of scrimmage? And Marcus Freeman is like, not a lot. I was like, what? And so 4th and 5 Saturday, and they have concept 4 wide and both of the inside slots. You're running a post and a corner.
Yeah.
That's the call. Chris Tyree had just went over the top a series before.
Yeah.
So the safety's like 12 yards off of Chris
Play deep.
Tyree,
Yeah.
right?
Play deep.
So it's like, you know, that's like stuff we do at the park. Like, just look at your boy, like, head nod. Quick slant.
Yeah. Either
like,
quick
I know
slant.
you got the post, but they're bringing 7. We got 6. I'm Sam Hartman. This dude is mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that's mine.
Depending on what zone they go, you either need to go quick slant or quick out or a hitch route.
Absolutely.
And you say, hey, it's you in that corner, 1 up. You got to win this battle. You got to win this battle some way, somehow. But, you know, you can't.
How much do you think what you just talked about, like lack of ability to check at the line of scrimmage, and the repeat offender that Jared Parker is? I'm going to ask a fair question. Has that been unfair to a veteran quarterback like Sam Hartman?
And I want to say yes, but I want to say this is also the reality of the transfer portal and the transfer situation. Because let's say Marcus Freeman, this is his 2nd year as the head coach, right? Now, let's say that Sam Hartman is with him. Let's say we put in an alternate dimension, rather, right? We're playing the Marvel what if game. What if both of these things happen in this way? Marcus Freeman becomes the coach. Hartman is born 2 years later, and he ends up going to Notre Dame straight out the gate. Do you think that if he was in year 6 as the head coach and Sam Hartman is in year 4 as his starting quarterback, do you think he doesn't give him leeway at the line? And if he doesn't, then we raise a bigger problem as to why are you having your hand in this thing so deeply as a coach that you don't let your guy, your signal caller, your guy who the team is going to live and die by, have that freedom to kind of check at the line of scrimmage. You know, it is a little bit restricting for a 6-year quarterback, but again, it's just the nature of this is a marriage that came together very quickly, right? This is a love is blind marriage. This ain't a real outside the bubble. We got time to you know, hey, I saw your mama. She was the prettiest girl on the playground, and I was in love with her ever since. Type of marriage, right? This is we were in the pause for 2 weeks, and next thing you know, we got married. That's what we got going on.
And then throw in the fact that the dude that brought him in bounced to Alabama.
Exactly. And that's the reality. That again
under Tommy Rees, who was the king of checking at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
You know, really, Hartman and Tommy Rees are similar type quarterbacks. I just think the physical skills favor Hartman a little bit more, but he probably would have given Hartman that type of leeway.
Absolutely. And I think that's why if you look at Wake Forest and their offense and how they play it, it's always on the quarterback. Think about it this way. Everybody calls their offense the what offense? The RPO offense. What does that mean? That nearly every play, the quarterback has the leeway and the ability to, whatever the adjustment is, he can not only make it pre-snap, he can make it post-snap. Oh, we're supposed to be running the power, but they're not giving proper respect to A.T. Perry out there. I'm going to pull this thing and see what we got deep. Oh, we're supposed to be running outside zone, but they're not giving, nobody's over Moran. We got numbers advantage over there. Let's throw this bubble screen. And so I knew that there could potentially be an adjustment with Hartman and all that with Tommy Rees, but I thought to myself, Tommy Rees knows that, like, you can't give this guy, you know, it doesn't make sense to put a certain type of guy in a certain type of situation. Like, you're not going to ask Chris Johnson to run the ball like Derrick Henry does and vice versa. You're not going to ask Derrick Henry, hey, we need you to be a 60-yarder guy, like if you leave in one cut guy like you would with Chris Johnson. And so here we are kind of putting Sam Hartman in this cage that doesn't make sense for him. Because if that was the case, I'm sure he would have picked another school because it just, again, one of the biggest parts of Sam Hartman's ability is the ability to make reads and adjustments on the fly. He knows his physical limitations. He knows he doesn't have the biggest arm. He's not the fastest guy. He's not this huge guy that can stand in and take big hits and all that. But what he knows about himself is if you give me the ability to read the defense and say, they got 2 high safeties, and nothing is looking like anybody's rolling up and back. So that's a middle of the field open concept. What do we have to attack middle of the field open? Let's check to it. Let's get it going. But if he can't do that, then you've taken away one of his biggest strengths.
Yeah, I agree. Lucky Lefty podcast. Ken Gibbs, Locked On. ACC, Locked On Wolfpack right here with us. Hey, man, before we move on to what happened last week for the Wolfpacks against Clemson.
Yeah.
Can you package Concepcion up and send them to South Bend? We'll take it. If y'all don't want to, wait, just let me finish.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna hear you out. But you're asking for a lot. You're asking for a lot. I'm gonna let you finish.
I understand. Okay.
All right.
But I just feel like I'm the dude that's watching a young lady be mistreated by a guy. And I feel like I need to walk up and let her know, man, you shouldn't be treated like that. I can treat you better, as the song says. That's all I'm saying.
To have this man dirty backing in my face is crazy. This is crazy.
To say, do you really want to play with quarterbacks like that? Wouldn't you much rather be around like an offensive line like us? And I'm just saying.
This man is singing, "You should let me love you" in front of the old boyfriend. Baby, I just don't get it. Do you enjoy being hurt right in front of the old man? Well, I'm gonna tell you this now, because see, now you're getting out of line. Now you're stepping about.
Throw a little Joe on, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. All the things your man won't do. I know what you're talking. Right. I know what you're talking. Now let me tell you this. Okay, we gave you Nick McLeod for nothing. You got Nick McLeod for nothing.
Okay, that's fair.
You got him for nothing.
That's fair.
We're gonna need at least that tight end you got, number 83. We're gonna at least need him. If you're gonna ask for Kevin Concepcion, and we need at least 2 4-star prospects you got on the way.
Breaking news: SHAUN and KENTON are going into the future of college football and creating the trade via the transfer portal.
Let me tell you something now. And we need, and let me tell you something. I know that NBC money hit different. We need some NIL considerations on there as well. You're going to have to pay. Let me tell you something. Kevin Concepcion is the Debo Samuels of college football. He does it all for the Wolfpack. He's had multiple games where he's been the leading rusher and the leading receiver. He is a guy that is so special, so unique, so dynamic. He's on pace to not just beat, he's on pace to smash every Wolfpack freshman receiving record. This guy, he was a 4-star, held out of high school, highly heralded out of high school. He had all the offers from all the places coming out of high school. But then you look forward to what he's done at state, and you're like, man, we knew he was going to be good, but he's lighting the world on fire. So if you want him, you got to give me something now. You don't have to.
See, earlier, I caught what you said. Earlier, you were like, yo, it was a quarterback issue against Notre Dame. Yeah, plays were there. You're right. Plays were there for 10 all day against Notre Dame. That kid is absolutely amazing. But I will say this. I really didn't fear this Clemson game. And after watching that game last week, I came away from that game like, man, look, that's one thing. I need another favor from you.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Let me clear this up. Let me clear this up because the Notre Dame fans on my head. I meant 88. I meant Mitchell Top. that's the guy that I was referring to. Mitchell Evans. That's the bad boy tight end I was talking about. Not 83, 88. My bad. 17 years of football ain't great for the memory. But what else you got to ask for now? Now listen, you already on the hook for Mitchell Evans. Two 4-stars at least.
Asking for Concepcion is a lot.
I'm just saying.
That's
but go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
If you could somehow, some way, if we can get number 11 to the Bears. If we can get number 11 to the Bears.
Well, now that one is doable.
We can get him to the Bears.
In the words of Shannon Sharp, that ain't no problem.
Okay.
Let me explain something to you. So I've talked to multiple draft experts about Peyton Wilson, right? I've been talking to draft experts about Peyton Wilson for the past 2 to 3 years, okay? And what I've heard about Peyton Wilson is always the same thing. 2 years ago, I kid you not, I've talked about this on Locked On Wolfpack, I've talked about it on Locked On ACC, Talk about it on Locked On College Football Live. 2 years ago, I was told Peyton Wilson is a surefire first rounder if he can stay healthy. That year, he ended up banging up his shoulder and missing the final 4 or 5 games of the season. He is still that guy. That is, the talent is undeniable. The talent, but I'm gonna tell you this: the Bears can get him on the humbug, as they say. You know where you and me from. When you get something on the stick, it's on the humbug. Let me tell you something.
We just gave away our 2nd round pick, though.
But here's the thing. I think that he may fall as low as 3rd, 4th, because if you think about his skill set,
really?
Hear me out. If you think about his skill set, he is a good pass rusher, but his style of play lends itself most effectively. What he does most effectively is off the ball linebacker.
Yeah.
Think about the value of off the ball linebackers in today's football.
Yes.
It's not as high as it once was, where it's like, if you got a good Mike linebacker, your defense is going to be good for the next 10 years. If you got a good Will linebacker that's going to be off the line of scrimmage, your defense is going to be, y'all are set. Y'all don't need nothing. And with that being said, I think the injuries have got him in the clearance rack, when in reality, it's like, this is a baller. This is a guy that can get it done. This is a guy that you will look at for years going forward, potentially. If he can stay healthy, he can positively impact a defense in the NFL for, I'd say, at least a good 7-8 years.
Boy, you got me feeling like the Bears can walk into a Marshalls or a TJ Maxx.
Let me tell you something.
Walk to the back.
You know the Ralph with the big horse on it?
Yes, sir.
It made its way out of Macy's. And you're like, well, if you got on sale for $10, I mean, I ain't gonna pass it up.
You see that red tag?
Yep.
That little red sticker, like, we're coming up today.
Exactly. And that's what I think Peyton Wilson will ultimately end up being, right? Like, because he's a guy with high boom potential, but also high bust potential, in that he can be a linebacker that is a very solid part of your linebacking core for the next decade or so. He can also be a guy that, like, those shoulders give out in 2 to 3 years, and it just doesn't pan out. And that's the reality. If we're going purely by talent, if this was like, if I'm talking about like on Madden, I'm absolutely spending the 1st round draft pick on that guy, because I'm like, whatever, just turn the injury sliders down and you'll be okay. But in real life, you can't do that, right? In real life, this is a gladiator sport. Injuries are part of the game, and you have to be ready to accept the possibility that a guy whose body has succumbed to the violence of this game multiple times in the past, it can happen in the future when the game isn't getting any slower in the NFL. The guys aren't getting any smaller in the NFL. So, if you're talking about getting to the Bears now, I'm gonna tell you this much: the division rivals done snapped up enough of NC State's players. And I'm gonna tell you, you talk about Dirty Mac. I'll Dirty Mac for the Lions for real, because I'll look around at the rest of the NC State players in the NFL and say, all I'm saying is this: Thomas, they ain't doing you right up there in Minnesota. They ain't doing you right. You see how we doing Big Aleem over there? 2 sacks, 2 of them things from interior defensive lineman. I'm just saying. Amon-Ra can't run every route out the slot there. He can't run every route. Come on.
I'm still mad we have the wrong St. Brown, unfortunately.
Let me tell you something. I love me some Amon-Ra St. Brown. The chip on his shoulder may be bigger than he is, but damn it, if it helps him ball, it helps him ball. Also, I don't want you to lose your clean rate, so I'm not going to say no other curse word, but I'm just saying. That's what it is.
It's all good. Tell me, from you viewing that game, watching the film, what the hell is wrong with Clemson?
Yeah, so the thing is this. The game of football, I joke a lot about football has now been renamed offense ball, because it's geared so much towards offenses being good and offenses putting up all these points. But those things are predicated on quarterbacks being great. It's a reason why, even though I joke about football being called offense ball, it's not. The game ain't been designed for triple option. It ain't been designed for Army, Navy, and those teams, those Fresno States of the world that run those the funky versions of triple option. It's not designed for them. It's designed for your quarterback to make the decisions, to be the guy, to do all the things. And also another thing, Garrett Riley is looking funny in the light along with Cade Klubnik's decision making. Garrett Riley is looking real funny in the light, because what his big brother does, what Lincoln does, is he makes it so that the talent gets into open spaces. They know where your defense has those open spaces, and they attack it. They're going to relentlessly drill down on wherever that open space is. You get punched in the mouth exactly in that spot. They give you however you want to do it, they'll give it to you. A Lincoln Riley offense will give you death by 1,000 cuts. It'll give you the big plays out the wazoo if you're a team that doesn't really do well with your deep coverage. Garrett Riley, however, I have never had much faith in, and I'm just being quite honest, because everybody said, "Oh, he's a wonder boy. He took TCU to the playoff." Let's really take a look at that, shall we? Who's the head coach of TCU? Sonny Dykes. Now, of all the complaints that people have about Sonny Dykes, when has offense ever been one of them? Nobody has ever said Sonny Dykes can't put that ball in the end zone. I don't care what you say. Sonny Dykes ain't never going to score no points. He has gotten the same rap as every run and shoot team or every run and shoot head coach. You can't stop a soul. Can't stop a soul. You know, they'll put up 500 yards, they'll put up 40 points, but they'll allow 45. And that's the reality there. And the other thing is, Clemson likes to get too cute, which is, again, a very bad. At first, I thought it was a glitch in the system, but now I'm realizing it's a feature under Garrett Riley. Run the dang ball. In the words of the mama from the blind side, who we now found out is a crook, run the dang ball. Okay? That's it. You've got a two-headed beast back there that is special. Will Shipley is a guy with amazing contact balance. He's shifty. He's a year removed from that ACL tear, so he's starting to get his giddy up and go back to him. You got Phil Maffa. I said the same thing about Maffa I say about Estimate. He's listed at 235. That boy is one Bo Berry's biscuit away from 250. He is one cookout tray away from a defensive coordinator saying, "Hey, Maffa, just put your hand in the dirt. Let's just see how you look.
How you look.
Now, don't get skeptical. Don't get mad, Phil. Don't get mad. Just put your hand in the dirt. Let's see how this goes." You know, I'm sure you've heard about Brandon Jacobs thinking about a comeback at defensive end. Maybe you get in at defensive end now. See what we can do. But in all seriousness, they have both of those guys back there who are special and unique in their own ways. Obviously, Maffa is the big bruiser. Shipley is the all-purpose kind of home run hitting guy. And yet, they're determined to keep the ball out of their hands. On 3rd and 1 in overtime against Florida State, you threw a bubble screen. You threw a bubble screen. When you have two of the best backs, not just that dynamic duo is not just one of the best in the ACC. That's one of the best in the country. I challenge anybody. Find me 5 backfields with a better 1-2 punch than those two. And yet, on 3rd and 1 against, and by the way, it wasn't 3rd and 1 and like, oh, Florida State had been waxing them all day in terms of running the ball. Their backs were averaging about 5.5 yards per carry. It's 3rd and 1. It's in overtime. You have to get a touchdown. I'm sorry, but the math says, now maybe this is just me. 5 is greater than 1, correct? I need to make sure that Detroit Public Schools is still working out. So that is correct, right? 5 is still bigger than 1?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if they're averaging 5 and you need 1, and you got 2 plays to get to 5, if they get half of their average, don't they get the 1?
Yeah.
Okay, I just need to make sure. Sure.
Yeah.
So you get cute with the ball on 3rd down, and then on 4th down, you want to get cute with it again. What are we doing here? Against Miami, you get cute with the ball.
Now, was that Garrett or was that K on that last play?
According to Dabo Sweeney, that was Cade. And that's what I'm saying.
The look he gave Cade.
And that's why I'm saying, that his football IQ is the first thing that needs to be called into question here.
Yeah.
Because Cade Klubnik is not making like rookie or freshman mistakes. He's doing things that are objectively like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? He's making the types of plays that there are 3 types of quarterbacks that you have, right? The quarterback that you win because of. When you think of that, you think of a Brady Quinn type guy, a guy that, you know, he does it all, he shows up, he makes it happen, yada, yada, so on and so forth. And then you think of a quarterback that you win with, right? You think of an Ian Book type of guy, right? Like he does the right things, he makes the right reads, he gets it to the playmakers. As long as the playmakers make it happen, you'll be all right. And then you've got the guy that you've got to win in spite of. Now, luckily enough for Notre Dame, I cannot think of a bad quarterback in y'all recent history that was like, ugh, like you got to do everything you can to overcome the fact that he's a quarterback. The
quarterback that started last year's game against Clemson. I'll help you out.
Oh, okay. Well, that guy, right?
Yeah. That guy, I don't want to even say his name. He's out of Arizona State.
Well, the guy that you have to win in spite of, like, you're begging him, please don't kill us. Please, just do what you just make the read that we tell you to make, man. That's all we got to do. And the reality is right now, Cade is falling into that 3rd territory. He's falling into that territory where it's like, Cade, please, we begging you, hand the ball off. And we say, hand it off. make the flat throw. When we say make the flat throw, please, Cade. And that's a serious problem. But the last problem I would say is they are looking very mortal on the outside. They're looking outside of that tight end that they got. I believe Brennan Stool. I haven't seen much out of Bo Collins. I haven't seen their freshman Brown has looked good at times. He has not looked like the type of he hasn't been the type of impact freshman to where he's now turned around your receiver room. You know what I mean? Like it's like, he's all right. He's good. I think he could turn into something good. But I don't know if that's exacerbated by bad quarterback play and bad decision making. But at the moment, Garrett Riley is making it really hard on Cade. He's not giving him easy looks. He's not giving him situations where, you know, we're running the ball, so we're going to keep running the ball. Cade, we're going to take the ball out of your hands. Just hand it off. We're going to have a drive where we go 10 plays, and 8 of them are going to be runs. Just hand it off, hand it off, hand it off, and we'll be all right. It's too much on Cade to make decisions. So,
Marcus Freeman got very conservative at the end of the first half last week, and it cost Notre Dame a touchdown. Even though they scored a touchdown, they called it back on a penalty. They had to settle for a field goal, but he wasted about 30 to 40 seconds. My thing was, he knew he was playing Pitt. We're in control of this game. I don't want to give them any chance to get any momentum going into halftime. We're going to come out and still crush them in the second half. Like, I kind of understood it. And then I flipped, because literally, this was within minutes of each other. I flip over as this is happening, and I see Clemson gets the ball with 2 minutes. And I've never seen a head coach butcher time management like Dabo did on that drive.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there like, why are you just not calling timeout and just letting the clock run? Especially when you're in Wolfpack territory now. Yeah. It was mind-boggling that Dabo would do that. And it looked like he almost a couple of times told Garrett Riley what to run. I saw him look at Garrett Riley and mouth something, and Garrett Riley was just looking like, okay. Which takes me to another thing. Even though Jared Parker was given the job, he was asked to run the same offense that had been installed by Tommy Rees. Garrett Riley comes in, hey, we already have a Clemson offense.
I want people to kind of stick with me here on something, okay? Would you, when you invite somebody into your life in any major capacity, right? When you invite me on this show, do you ever say, have we ever had a pre-production talk where you said, hey, Kent, man, no one-liners, no music analogies. I need you to be, you know, serious, focused, button up. I need you to be wearing a suit and tie to this thing. Have you ever said that to me? No.
No, never
right?
would.
Okay. Now, with your old lady, right? You know her. You know what's going on here. But when you first invited her into your life, did you lay down a bunch of very strict ground rules for like, hey, of course, we're talking beyond the basic decency of like, hey, when we set a date, stick to it, stick your word, all that type of stuff.
Right.
I mean, like, did you set down ground rules for like your nails always need to be coffin shaped? They need to nothing but French tips. You need to make sure. Did you do those types of rules? Did she have those types of rules for you? You need to have it cut this way. You need to. Okay.
No, I have a real one. That wouldn't have lasted. That wouldn't have gonna come across.
Okay, so with that being said, I mean, I think that there's something very clear here that we need to address, okay? These teams are not letting their offensive coordinators be free to be themselves.
Yes.
They have got to be themselves. And if there is a problem, let's work it out on the back end. But you got to let people be who they are, or else what was even the point of hiring an offensive coordinator? If that's the case, you run it. You take it over and run it. You know, so outside of sports journalism, I do technical recruiting, okay? And one of the things that I tell, I've been a manager, I've been a leader, I've been a head of talent, all that type of stuff. So I'm not just doing the IC work of, you know, the day-to-day grind.
Yeah.
When I lead teams, what I tell them all the time is these are the goals. And I trust you to get there in your own way. But if there's a way in which you need assistance, let's talk about it. Let's figure out how to get there. But these are the goals. however you want to do it, however you want to. I'm not micromanaging nobody. That's the way to burn out your employees. That's the way to have bad retention. That's the way to see poor results, which we're seeing on the field, right? Like, this is what we're seeing from a lot of these offensive coordinators right now, because again, some of these head coaches are just so involved, and you can tell it's a criticism that's been levied against Dave Doran for forever and a day, because we've gone through 3-4 different offensive coordinators, and still the problem remains. Going into half, we get too conservative at times. We all of a sudden tuck our tail and say, oh, we're all right. We ain't ran the ball all day, but we've been crushing them through the air all day. 1.5 minutes left in the half. We get the ball our own 25. Oh, let's go ahead and run it. Let's do 2 runs, a little whimsical pass, and then punt the ball and hope that they don't do anything, which killed us against Notre Dame. Yeah. But that's my point. Multiple times we're seeing these offensive coordinators be kind of restricted by their head coaches that, hey, we're going conservative right here. No, let these boys cook. Let them cook. And if you feel like it's really a dangerous situation, say, hey, be you. Don't turn the ball over now. You know, we do what you can, but, you know, be you, brother. Go do your thing. Do your thing. Get in the kitchen, cook up what you're going to cook up, and we'll live with the results.
So how do you see this matchup? Because it sounds like, hey, both of these defenses, hey, they're going to bring it on Saturday.
Yeah.
So whichever quarterback makes the mistakes, sets things up, because I'm a realist. Like I said, Notre Dame didn't win that game last year when they dominated Clemson. Dabo said it, though. Dabo was like, yo, that was the quickest post game I've ever done. He was like, it wasn't too much I can say. Like, we got our butts kicked. And it wasn't because of the quarterback. Notre Dame ran the ball for almost 240 yards, bro.
Yeah.
Logan Diggs, unfortunately, is down at LSU this year. So that dynamic duo of running back that would have rivaled the backfield you talked about at Clemson, half of it's down in Baton Rouge right now. You know, we still go 4 or 5 deep in the running back room, but I'm sure Notre Dame's going to try and run the ball. And then, like I said, you know, special teams, which was huge last year. That's Notre Dame got on the board with a block punt last year. And then things just kind of steamrolled, and Benjamin Morrison, that was his coming out party with the 2 interceptions and the pick 6. This is my thing. Because a lot of people are worried about Vegas, right? Because people like Notre Dame fans are like, how in the world are we only a 1-point favorite? How are we only installed as 1-point favorite? I said, wait a minute, relax. I said, Vegas just watched Clemson lose to North Carolina State and saw Notre Dame destroy Pittsburgh. They have to create a reason for the bettors to want to, they have to make Clemson attractive.
Yeah.
So make it a 1-point game, which is pretty much a pick 'em. And then through the week, now it's at 3.5, 4. Why? Because all the money has come in on Clemson. And now Vegas really has it where they want it. Right at 3.5, 4. And let's see how things play out. So for me, it's dude, Notre Dame knows they have to come in and play. This isn't a game where you're like, oh, they're 4-4. They stink. No, this isn't Pitt. You know that.
Absolutely.
You got to come in and you got to come in and do your thing. But if you come in and play your game, not because there isn't talent with Clemson, the quarterback is going to at some point make a bad decision.
Yep, 1,000%.
Give you a turnover. Their special teams haven't been good. Their pass rush hasn't been good due to injury. They still have their D tackles, but maybe now you can run to the edges because they don't have depth. Maybe now you can take over in the run game in the second half because their depth is hurt by injuries. Yeah, they have Barrett Carter. Yeah, they have Trotter. Like, dude, they got 10. They got Wiggins, the kids on the back end. Their safeties have been a little questionable. It's a lot of things. And your boy Mitchell Evans, he's out for the year.
Yeah.
With the ACL. Yeah. So now, okay, but Notre Dame has tight ends in spades.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Dude, that's nothing. Like, I'm sure
Notre Dame changed tight ends like everybody else changed radio stations when they driving. They just, oh yeah, another All-American, Yeah, we'll change to another guy. They all 6'4", 6'5", about 240 plus. They can all run routes, catch the ball. They got break time.
So go ahead, break it down. The advantages for both sides.
Yeah.
And what you expect.
Well, rest in peace to the poet and philosopher Kershnick Ball, also known as Takeoff. This game is going to be big on big. That's what this game is going to be. You're looking at Joe Alden Company, and you're looking at Tyler Davis and Company, and you're saying who's going to win that battle. That determines who wins the game. When you look at, everybody says Notre Dame broke Clemson. Notre Dame broke Clemson. Well, for all intents and purposes, yes. They did not just beat Clemson. They went out there and bullied Clemson. Y'all said, hey, we're bigger than you. We're stronger than you. We're better than you. Our ice is colder than yours. We look better than you. We make more money than you. We can make $1 quicker than you. And it showed. It showed. Everything showed, hey, this is a better team than you all. And Clemson has struggled to recover since. And I don't think that this is the game where they get back right and recover. I mean, this is if you want to talk about matchups and all that, we talked about how bad the Notre Dame receiving room looked early in the year, and when they were going through that stretch where it just seemed like everybody who put on the golden helmet with wide receiver next to their name was injured and all that, and now they're getting back healthy. Now guys are starting to play. Now guys are starting to come on. You talk about Evans going down, but we talk about there is a wealth of tight ends in Notre Dame. I don't know what it is. It's like every time you put on the gold helmet, when you got tight end next to your name, you get some of that super soldier serum injected into your veins immediately. You know what I mean? Be it Michael Mayer, be it Evans, be it whoever the next in line is, be it Trimble, another guy that's playing well in the NFL and all that good stuff. There is always going to be some tight ends out of Notre Dame. And so you're looking at this matchup and you're saying, well, you know the Clemson's defensive line is good, but how good are they? The difference between this Clemson and the Clemson we saw in the past, Clemson of the past had depth. Clemson of the past, they didn't just throw a defensive line with Daquan Bowers at you. They said, oh, Daquan Bowers is tired. Get him out of there. Get Vic Beasley in the game. What? You know how terrifying that is? You know, oh, Brian Brzee. Oh, we got Dexter Lawrence for you. Oh, Dex is tired. Put Brian Brzee in. My brother in Christ, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to me? This is supposed to be a football game. This is supposed to be fun. Where these big guys are not, this is not a good time. They're coming with bad intentions and pain in every sentence. What are we doing here? And so this year, they don't have that type of rotation, right? I love Aurora. He's a really good defensive lineman. Tyler Davis is a guy that we almost put out an APB on him earlier in the year because we was looking for him. We was looking for him, and he showed up. He's now shown up. Xavier Thomas was a guy that was showing up earlier in the year and all that. But the reality is, if you're going to play a full game where your defense is the group that sets the tone and makes it happen, offense can do it really right one time and they get off the field, right? You do it right one time. Trust me, I know. I watched the Notre Dame game, first play out of the Thunder and Lightning delay, 80-yard touchdown, they get off the field.
Right.
However, a defense, you got to do it right again and again and again and again in order to get it right, which means you need depth. You need multiple guys. You need to have a situation where more than just your starters can get it done. I don't think that Clemson has that. I think Wiggins is a little overrated on the outside. I think that this is a situation where Sam Hartman is, again, he's kind of playing in a situation where one arm is tied behind his back, but he's doing the best that he can, and he's got a supporting cast. Best offensive line he's ever played with. Wide receiver core, not quite there in terms of best he's ever played with, but they're still good. Tight end room, we've talked about ad nauseum. And then defensively for Notre Dame, I don't see a world where Cade Klubnik and company can generate enough points. That running game can be dominant enough for it to make sense to say, hey, they're going to do good things against Notre Dame's defense consistently enough to win this game.
Wow. Go ahead, Lef.
You made a good point. See, I heard it right there. My thing is, we bring Sam Hartman in. You mentioned the receiver room not being right there, but that's where Sam is supposed to make us right there.
Yeah, but he can't. We talked about earlier the fact of the matter is he needs to be able to make checks at the line, which Freeman has said, I don't give him the freedom to do, which is like, that's crazy. That's one of his. It's like bringing Lamar Jackson into your offense and saying, all right, brother, don't run the ball more than 4 times a game. What are you doing? It's part of what. It's part of him. It's part of who he is. It's like bringing in Big Ben Roethlisberger saying, don't take too many deep shots. It's part of who they are. And if
Hey,
you don't
Left,
want to do that,
he's basically. I know what he's doing. See, because I know him now. I know him, dude. We got this connection. See, he used Lamar. He used Lamar as an example, but he's really trolling me about Luke Getsy and Justin Fields. That's what he's doing.
Right.
I know him. I know him too good. Now, Left. I know him. I know.
But the checks at the line doesn't come with him making 6,000 or 6 receivers 1,000 yards each. That's more than checks at a line. Sam Hartman's impact is not what was advertised when we signed up for those 3 games. And just that goes back to where's the Heisman highlight? Where's the transfer highlight moment where we're like, man, thank goodness we had Sam Hartman on this football team, because without him, we wouldn't be there. I can't find one yet.
So let me give you that pushback of this. Watch all of Sam Hartman's highlight, and don't watch the highlight. See where the highlight is. Find out where the highlight is in that game, and I want you to go watch the pre-snap stuff. Because I'm guaranteeing you 9 times out of 10, he's walking up to the line saying, hey, this is what we need to do. This is how we need to do it. This is what needs to happen. And he's giving a check to that offense. Don't get me wrong. A.T. Perry was a bad man, right? Moran was a bad boy.
Yeah, A.T. Perry was a bad boy.
Robinson, Jacory Robinson, they had some bad dudes over there. I'm not, hey, I give you that. But a lot of that, all those guys getting 1,000 yards was him having the ability. They call that Wake Forest offense the long mesh RPO offense. They call it that for a reason. Everything is in the quarterback's hands for longer than normal, longer than advertised. Everything is you figure it out. We trust you to make the play. If you're really good, we'll be really good. If you're really bad, we'll be really bad, which is what we saw in pretty much in spades while he was at Wake Forest. And I understand where Marcus Freeman is coming from in terms of like, we don't want you to have a situation where if you're struggling, we struggle as a team, because our offense is predicated and built around you having, basically 80% control of making it happen. But there has to be a happy medium. Like, we got to have something between 80% and 20%. Let's work this thing out to where it's like, Sam, if you see this, this, and this, we'll go for it. And if you're successful with it, we'll let you roll. We'll let you rock. But to me, I'm a believer that if you have a 6-year guy, you have a 5th-year guy, it has to be, I give you the freedom to roam and reign, and abuse leads to restriction. If you abuse that freedom, if you make a terrible check, if they got a 5-man box and we got 6 to block, and you're checking out of a run to throw it deep and it gets picked off, okay, we're going to rein you back. But before that, I need to see you abuse that power first, because you've used your powers much more for good than for nonsense while you were at Wake Forest. So maybe let's give you that. And if you can't do it, we'll take you out of that situation. But that's just, it's a really unfortunate situation that Tommy Rees, who brought him in, and who we know, Tommy Rees was the king of letting you cook at the line of scrimmage. He's now at Alabama, and it's like, he's got quarterbacks that can't cook at the line of scrimmage. Notre Dame doesn't want you to cook at the line of scrimmage. And Wake Forest is left with Mitch Griffiths. Everybody lost this one. This is, we were talking about a trade earlier, and this is why these teams need people like us to talk about a trade to get this thing worked out, to make sure everything works out for everybody. Because it seems like, everybody just got a little bit worse out of Sam Hartman leaving Notre Dame, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah, Left, earlier, I proposed that via the transfer portal, North Carolina State sends us Casey Concepcion, and he asked for Mitchell Evans.
Mitchell Evans. Hold on. Don't tell him half the deal. Mitchell Evans. Right. Mitchell Evans. 2 future 4-star prospects, or 1 5-star. 1 5-star. and some NIL considerations.
Oh, man.
That's all I'm asking.
Heavy back end.
That is a heavy package.
Let me tell you something. Kevin Concepcion has been NC State's leading receiver and rusher for multiple games. So I'm just saying, you're gonna need to throw me a bag for that young man. I ain't giving him up. What did the girl from City Girl say?
He said we got Nick McLeod for free.
Yeah, you got Nick McLeod.
We did. Hold on. Nick McLeod, we poached, and then he also elevated himself. He's still playing today.
Yeah. Listen. With all due respect to Notre Dame, he was with the Wolfpack for 5 years. Okay, he didn't just learn how to play corner over there. Now, wait a minute. Listen. All I'm saying is this. Okay, if y'all want to make this trade, okay, I'm willing to make a deal. I'm willing to work this thing
we
out.
can't give you that much because Mitchell Evans means a lot to us.
But see, here's the problem. Here's the problem.
We're working from a position of strength, though.
Exactly. And
like, we create tight ends. Like,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Y'all got. I know what it is. Somebody over there up at the Irish. Y'all went up to that cathedral and y'all made a wish and y'all said, "Lord, please, let us just get whatever tight end we want. We'll figure out everything else. Just give us all the tight ends we want." I know if y'all get rid of Mitchell Evans, y'all gonna produce another one. Hi, I'm 6'6". I'm 280 pounds. I can block. I can run a 4.4. That's right. I'm Brock Bowers 2.0. I know that's gonna happen. So just go ahead, let him go. And listen. We could give y'all a protected 5-star in terms of it cannot be a premium position like a quarterback, a wide receiver, running back, edge rusher. Come on, talk to me now. Work with me.
Edge rushers is what we're looking for.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said protected.
We might have to come back and ask for a little bit more on your side, just a little bit more.
But listen. Just know,
definitely a little bit more.
Know, I'm from Detroit, and you know, as they said on Four Brothers, that is a sweet deal. I'm gonna work something out with you now. I'm gonna work something out with you. But if you're asking for KC, if you're asking for KC, just know that you know when Deion said I'm coming with my bags and that's a Louis Goyard collab right there that we just can't come up on.
Yeah, we just
can't come up off him real quick and easy.
We respect that.
All right,
absolutely. That's why we're asking for it.
And listen, Notre Dame and y'all TV deal. I know y'all about business. If ain't nobody else about business, Notre Dame about some business.
See, the fans are in the chat trying to be disrespectful. They say give them Angeli and Salerno.
See, y'all can make something out of Angeli in the ACC. Hold on now.
No, stop
y'all
playing.
Can make something out of Angeli.
Stop playing.
He would be a top 3 ACC quarterback over Devin Leary.
Let me tell you something. We got our guy at quarterback in our current guy in MJ. Okay, in MJ we trust.
MJ Morris.
I like
MJ Morris.
I like him.
Let me tell you something. I thought that MJ's biggest problem was that he was slow. I watched him play and I said, man, why do Brendan Armstrong look so much faster than him? And now that he's comfortable, I said, oh, he got the wheels too. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Okay, MJ Morris is nice.
So a quarterback ain't really doing too much for me right now. But don't worry. Like I said, we're going to talk about this. We're going to work this out some more. Because like I said, we'll give you a protected 5-star. You know, y'all got 5-star tackles over there too like crazy. Okay. So y'all maybe give us one of them. We need offensive linemen. Help us out. I'm not saying send this Joe off, but we need a 5-star offensive lineman. You know what I mean? Would you be interested in staff? I gotta watch the tape. To see.
Maybe we can send you a coach.
Listen,
we can send some coaches.
I'm gonna tell you this much. Okay, if I'm gonna take a coach from over there, it's gonna be the only black man that know how to find a good lineup in Notre Dame. Okay, I need me some Freeman if you're gonna send me a coach. Now don't tell me about no other coaches if it ain't Freeman. I don't want to hear.
We got a nice
one. Come on, man. Washington. Hey, if you give us Freeman, you have to give us every 4 or 5 star you get in the next 5 years.
Yeah. You got to own your recruiting for a while.
That's fair. And that's why I'm saying we need to work this thing out. We need to, have your people reach out to my people. We all gonna be good people. That's what they see. That's what we trying to do right now. You know what I mean? All I'm saying is, it's some deals that you look at where it's like that trade. Oh man, them boys got fleeced. I want a deal where it's like the Pelicans and Lakers deal, where it's like everybody got what they wanted. You know what I mean? The Pelicans got them a whole little core to build around. They ain't build nothing with it, but that's their fault. The Lakers got them a ring.
Hold on now. Zion looking like he's trying to be a nice comeback player of the year now.
Oh, stop it. Mariah Mills done made more tweets about that boy that he done had games played. Stop playing. Stop playing, man. God. This is a family-friendly show. It's a family-friendly show. So we ain't gonna go there right now.
He playing like it's on the line.
No, but he is though. He playing like there's a lot on the line because
But see, this is the thing. People don't realize the number 1 seed in the West in January of 2023 was a New Orleans Pelicans.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
But the same thing that's happening this year was happening at that time. Brandon Ingram was injured and he had to carry the squad. And then he pulls his hamstring. Everybody's like, man, no. If Brandon Ingram can stop getting injured at the beginning of every season, he won't have to carry the team. And maybe he can rest. Last night, he was dead tired against OKC.
But see,
And they keep giving him ISOs at the free throw line, and I'm like,
I hate to do this. And I hate to make this about basketball. But I mean, in all fairness, Zion was supposed to be the best prospect since LeBron James, ain't it? Now, they say that about every number one pick. It seemed like every couple of years. They said Wemby's supposed to be the best since LeBron. They said Zion's supposed to be the best. If you got that type of title on you, you got to live in that title. Nobody ever said, "Hey man, LeBron just keep getting tired out there in Cleveland."
Wait a minute, the game's different. You can't win a single superstar team no more. You can't.
Hey, come on now.
Am I wrong, Sean? You can't win on the superstar.
Well, I mean, the Lakers got one superstar, and that's AD.
That man was carrying. Carlos. He was carrying Carlos Boozer before he started being the Beijing King to wins up there in Cleveland.
The Beijing King.
He the Beijing King. Now I saw that lineup. I said, brother, you can't get in the pool right now. That's crazy.
Beijing King, hair plugs, whatever you want to call it.
That's just some nasty work. But at the end of the day, again, you got to show up and perform. I'm not, and I see the fans saying I'm trying to fleece y'all in this day. I'm not trying to fleece nobody. I'm not a used car salesman. I'm not selling you a lemon. I'm selling you. Listen, this young man is going to destroy every freshman receiving record that NC State ever thought of. He's going to destroy all of them while being one of our leading rushers. If you going to get him up off us, like the girl from City Girl said, we go together real bad. Real bad. So if you want him, you got to come up on something.
Notre Dame
we got him. It's Chris Tyree.
He was the one. Nah, bro. Chris Tyree ain't him. No, you are not. Hey, I'm not about to allow you. Chris Tyree is not him. That is the one dude. That is the one dude that consistently was open against Notre Dame. Consistently.
Let me tell you something. I made the joke about, I said, this is when I realized, like, I've been in the South a little too long here because I was down here and I said, let me tell you something. That boy is like 7'11". He's always open. And they said, what's that? I said, what you mean, what's that? What you mean?
If you know, man, look, tie a bow on this, bro. Tie a bow on this. How does it play out? And I said this. I see what Dabo's been doing.
Yeah.
He's trying to make this an emotional game.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame is going to have to walk in early and deal with the emotions and not fuel the emotions with turnovers, penalties, and stupid play. And as long as they don't do that, I feel comfortable. But how do you see this matchup playing out?
Oh, I feel very comfortable. If I'm a Notre Dame fan, I feel extremely comfortable. I think Notre Dame rolls in this one 34-17. I don't think that Clemson stands too much of a chance. The only way that Clemson has a chance in this game is to get out early and let that emotion drive them to a big, darn near spirit-breaking lead. And even if they do that, I think that they'll win a close one where Notre Dame does everything they can to come back. But what I think will actually happen, I don't think that they have the offensive facilities to keep up. I don't think that they have the defensive line and linebackers. When I heard Barrett say after the first game of the season, I realized we need to be in better shape. I almost punched my screen. I said, "What? Hold on." Because me as a player, one thing that I always took pride in, conditioning is in between you and you. Yeah, that conditioning has nothing to do with anybody else. From the day that you step on that field to play football, and once you get cognizant of what it takes to be a great player, conditioning is always you. You could ask any coach I've ever played for from high school on, and they'll tell you I was the first one in, last one. I needed to get in. I needed to be ready because I knew the physical demands on me in terms of what was necessary for me to be a good football player and to be a great football player. I knew that. When I heard that from him, I said, yeah. Wrap it up. Clemson is losing right now. The cracks are being exposed left and right. That emotion, that's slapping Flex Seal on a dam that's breaking. Like, it sounds good in theory, but you need some structural upheaval. You need some actual engineering to take place in order to fix what's going on, because we all know that Clemson has been dominant for so long. They don't have players and coaches that know how to deal with this level of adversity. They're not used to, when you're losing, the jokes ain't as funny. Your old lady look kind of funny. You looking at her like, you used to be the prettiest thing in the world, but you look kind of weird without makeup on. The ice ain't as cold. The food ain't as good. Everything is a little worse when you're losing. And Clemson's not used to this level of losing. I don't think that they're built to respond to this type of adversity, which they've shown at multiple points in time during this season. And again, I challenge you to find a Power 5 quarterback with a worse football IQ than Cade Klubnik. I really and truly challenge you to do so.
Thank you.
Especially on a team that's either a blue blood or that has multiple national championships in the last 2 decades. I dare you to find me one, and I'll shut up about it. But the reality is, it's like I look at him a lot, and I'm just like, son, do you not know ball?
Every week.
Like, what's happening?
Every week. It's like every week he does something.
Absolutely.
And I'm amazed. And Left, you always laugh because you're like, yeah, it was all DJ's fault, huh?
And look at what DJ doing, leading the number 12 team in the nation, 13 team in the nation. Like, that's, you know.
They was splitting time last time over there with the Aiden Childs QB.
Okay.
Aiden Childs is going to be nice.
But he's going to be nice, though.
All I'm going to say is this. If I'm Clemson, I'm looking at saying, Cade Klubnik, can you do something for me? Please. Please. Do something. Do anything.
They've sold out on the hype where they're going to ride or die with him, and I think that's, at this point, it's just naive to do that in 2023 with all the available resources to replace a kid, especially, you know, thinking of who Dabo is, you would think he could pull in another Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson type, like a Lincoln Riley has been able to do. Maybe there's a coaching difference. I don't think Dabo was necessarily coaching Trevor or Deshaun to be the quarterback that they are today, as opposed to probably how Lincoln Riley is actually probably giving something of a quarterback whisper when you've been printing out QBs like they've had. So it's interesting, his recruiting techniques. I guess you can't Christian your way to the top all the time. And I think Trevor Lawrence was the perfect Dabo quarterback. I don't think Trevor Lawrence would have been the same anywhere else to Dabo. I think that's Dabo's real Michael Jordan, if he could say it on air.
I mean, if you look at their run of quarterbacks, I don't think seriously, when's the last time we saw a university have a run of quarterbacks like that, to where you go from Taj Boyd, who set all the records for your school, all the records in the world, to Deshaun Watson, who, I mean, say what you will about the man off the field, but on the field, I guess on both fronts, he's an absolute menace. I mean, he terrorizing defense. The reality is, the boy terrorized defenses in the ACC for his years, and then went on and got replaced by Kelly Bryant for half a season, who was then replaced by Trevor Lawrence. So, I mean, you know, you're looking at multiple guys. You're looking at multiple guys back to back to back that were extremely special talents who, you know, and then you look at the talent on the outside as well, where you went to DeAndre Hopkins and Mike Williams and these guys that were so special. Justin Ross.
Higgins.
T. Higgins. And now, who you got on the outside?
Bo Collins.
And let me tell you something. Hunter Renfrow may look like he going to sell you the meanest insurance that you've ever seen, but that boy can route you up. He will route you up, down, and all around. You know, that's a receiver that you can try to tie him down and all that, but he's got something to him that, again, he is always open. He is a guy that, you know, he just gets it done. So you don't have that anymore. Who's their guy? They have a better backfield than I've seen at multiple points in most points in Clemson history, outside of when they had C.J. Spiller, and I can't remember the other guy. It was Davis and Spiller, I believe. It was
Davis Spiller. Who was there with Trav?
ETN was crazy.
ETN his last season. They had an incoming freshman that I thought was pretty good. He didn't pan out. I think he ended up transferring.
Yeah, the reality is, Clemson is, I mean, let's be honest, right? All things fall. All things, it doesn't matter who you are, no matter how great you are. You know, we've seen times where Notre Dame, the gold helmets look a little less gold. We've seen that before. We've seen that for everybody. We saw Florida State be god-awful for multiple years, and now they got a 6'4" receiver that's returning punts. He's 6'4" and returning punts.
Amazing what that transfer portal can do for you, Dabo.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Amazing. Hey, how much time do you have?
I got as much time as you need, brother. I got as much time.
Okay, because I thought you might bounce out on us like Joe Smith.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't have a fans only though. So
yeah, I was about to say. We try to keep it. We missing it with Ryan Mills, now we're missing Joe Smith. We try to keep it PG. I'm trying my hardest.
You opened the door with the minutes comment. I was like, hey, I'm just saying. No, but seriously, Dabo, post game North Carolina State, real solid.
Yeah.
Then the run in with Tyler from Spartansburg.
Yeah. Shout out to Tyler from Spartansburg. Give me a call, brother. Give me a call. You good in my book. You ever come to Raleigh, you ain't got to pay for no wings. You know what I mean? I got you, brother.
Left. I need you to relax a little bit on this one, okay?
No, that's right. Tyler from Spartansburg just trying to do his job, man.
I gave you a full show to really go with Dabo. You did a great job. We're gonna be nice today, and I'm gonna let my. Well, I don't want to call him. I don't want to call him bro or bruh.
Okay.
He already told me if you see the cane.
I mean, listen, you can call me. You can call me bro, bro. It's just you said there's a good brother in the fold, and I'm like, hold on now. I don't want the wrong side of 1911 to start claiming me. I don't want that to stop happening. Now I'm in the bond. I'm in the bond, baby. Let me tell you, man. True story, man. So I grew up with Simeon Rice, right? Mm-hmm.
Same block, everything. We both ended up going to University of Illinois at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Sim was going to pledge. I'll just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
Lou Tepper was the coach. Lou Tepper was kicking cats off the team because he found out they were online.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are certain coaches
I was like, damn, you just cutting up scholarships because you don't want them to pledge? I'm like, you got an issue with the organizations and the culture? Yeah. Or is that just a football team?
I'll say this. When I went on one of my official visits, there were multiple players there. And one of the players was a legacy of a different organization. And he asked, like, how do y'all feel about players who, want to go through the pledging process and all that? And the coach said, this is how I knew, like, oh boy, these coaches ain't even good at lying sometimes. This coach said, hey man, I'm not gonna tell you what you can and can't do, okay? Listen, you can do whatever you want to do as a young man, but I'll tell you this much. I had a defensive end. He was one of the guys, freshman All-American, one of the best in the country. He was setting himself up to go make a lot of money, lots and lots of money. And next thing you know, he goes through the pledging process. He loses 40 pounds. He's never the same player again. Never the same player again. And so I'm just telling you, you can do what you want, but what do you want? What's going to set you up for your future? Does barking or twirling the cane mean that much to you, man? And I'm like, there are easier ways. You could have just said no. You could have just said, hey, man, I don't want that on my team. And I wouldn't have been mad at that.
Passive way of saying, nah.
Exactly. Because see, Lefty, you know how this thing goes. Whatever a coach tells you when you are being recruited, it's always 10 times worse in reality. So if he's telling you gently no while you're being recruited, when you get on campus, it's going to be, boy, have you lost your mind?
Yeah, it's the whole voluntary, involuntary workout.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
all that type of stuff.
Voluntary workworkouts, but everybody's there on time. Like,
absolutely. It's a voluntary workout, but if you're not there, that somebody gonna come up to you, tap you on your shoulder. Hey, man, where were you for the workouts? What's going on there?
Or you look on that depth chart, you be like, what? That's crazy. I'm on the bottom of the depth chart.
Yeah. I haven't even seen. I don't know how many Notre Dame players I've seen like repping. Did they allow you guys to pledge?
Oh, listen. Well, we didn't have it on campus. Our dorms are considered.
That's right. You guys used to have to go to other chapters, like in Indiana and Chicago.
Right. Now we had some guys on the team that did do it. The whole Nick Watkins, Jalen, who was that? Couple of the Troy Pride, couple of the secondary guys, they got behind it and all of that. But I think that was more so affiliated with somebody else. But that would definitely change the landscape of Notre Dame if they had fraternities and sororities. I just think it would just, because we don't have that, we don't have great homecomings, in my opinion.
Yeah, DJ Brown is he did it via one of the Chicago chapters. DJ Brown is one of your fellow.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine playing, being online, and having to travel to a different city to get down and still come back. My brother in Christ, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. And Nick McLeod, I knew somebody was going to mention Nick McLeod. He crossed it in NC State. So
that NC State, he was in NC State before he even got there. Most guys that we had were that before they even got, like Cody Riggs, Avery Sebastian, Nick McLeod, guys that were already players
Yeah.
before they. That's why they always show us their moves and stuff. They first couple days in the locker room because nobody is but them. So they
Yeah.
they do their whole routine course.
So that's like the little orientation, like the little freshman show, or slash,
That's what they
welcome
all
to
go
Notre
to.
Dame show, like show.
Every time we have a talent show, that's the first thing they go to because they know that we've never seen no stuff like that.
I'm not shimmying nor twirling for a room full of my teammates. Not doing it. With all due respect, not doing it.
That's what I said. But
that's
y'all thing, though. That's what y'all supposed to.
Listen,
so go ahead.
I do my best Aiden Hutchinson impression and get my Billie Jean on before I do that one. Okay, I come out. I'm coming white glove and all. Okay, I'm doing the whole bit, but I ain't. The minute somebody's like, "Hey, shimmy for us," my brother in Christ, relax, please.
So,
that's
hey
right.
man, Dabo,
Yeah.
where, man, do you even see him being able to build this back up, or a mutual part in other ways?
So
he said he would be done and players started getting paid. We're still waiting for him to retire.
Yeah. Okay, fun fact about Dabo Swinney. He is, in fact, a human, just like the rest of us. And he is, in fact, a liar a little bit, just like the rest of us, right?
We
all say things that we don't.
Don't say that because he's God image and likeness.
No, see, but see, here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing, all right? Even a good book said that, nobody's perfect but him, right? When they were getting ready to stone somebody. What did Jesus say? Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. And the first person he started looking at was the person that was subscribed to all them OnlyFans. You ready to throw a stone, brother? Okay, that's what I thought. So, Dabo, in all seriousness, he needs to change in a serious way. Like, this is just like, and I talk about this a lot, and this is like my philosophy in life, and this is something that I take very seriously. Even in every relationship we have in life, including our relationship with ourselves, there will be deep periods of uncomfortability where you need to take a look in the mirror at the man, woman, person you're becoming and say, what do I need to change? There needs to be a serious change. Like, yes, I like me. I like who I am. I like the human that I am. But there are some things that need to change if I am to reach my best level, or if I am to adjust to this new environment and all that. And at that point, you have two choices. You can either make those adjustments, make those changes, be that new man, woman, person, or you can say, you know what, that new level ain't for me. I'm good. That new thing ain't for me. I'm happy where I'm at. I'm happy and fine here and rock out with that. That's where Dabo is. He's at that crossroads of, I need to change my philosophy of recruiting. I need to change my philosophy of how I let my coaches cook, because let's be honest, this is now more of a popcorn society than it's ever been for the coaches. It's always been this way for the players, right? Because Lefty and I know, everybody says, oh, college football is amateur athletics. You can't cut players. Look at the roster on any team that goes 4-8. Look at it one year. Look at it the next year. Look at how many new faces there are. All of a sudden.
It's funny that you say that. It's definitely like that.
Exactly. And do you think that all of those players that magically left, and some of them end up transferring to other decent schools. Some of them end up transferring to the Island of Misfit Toys University. Some of them end up transferring to Last Chance U. Some of them end up transferring. They end up transferring to the college that got 100% acceptance rate. You know what that college is? DCU, the Crib University, right? Now, you think that all of those kids are happily leaving whatever college they're at to go back to those places? No. For years, it has been kids can get cut in an instant. But now the difference is coaches are getting cut quicker than ever. Teams are moving on from coaches like, bro, you got 3
coaches
years.
Coaches can't do the whole. It used to be in their favor where they can leave at any time.
Exactly.
It's a big club. Now they got to have retention. Or they're going to be let go mid-season. I've seen more mid-season fires than I've ever had.
Exactly. So with Dabo, he has to have a very, very serious moment of, I've won more championships than Clemson's ever seen. I raised Clemson to a place that Clemson has never been.
It's got to be bigger than that.
But because I have done so well, they expect me to do so well. And as my mother would always say, it's better to be a man. I became the man in my house when I was 10 years old in essence. And I used to ask my mom sometimes, like, why me? And she said, son, it's better to be a man with too many expectations than no expectations. Because the man that people expect nothing of, don't nobody want him around. Don't nobody want him around. That is a useless man if ain't nobody got a lick of expectation in the world for you. So Dabo has to come to that growth and that moment of like, hey, what am I doing wrong? What are these coaches that are lapping me doing right? I don't think that Norvell is half the coach Dabo is. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. But Norvell is a better coach for this moment right now than Dabo is. Norvell, if you look at all of his stars, which ones of them are homegrown? Deloach, and I believe, is Benson homegrown? I believe that's it. Those may be the only two. You look at the edge rusher, Verse. He's a transfer. Travis is a transfer. Keon Coleman is a transfer. Johnny Wilson is a transfer. That big tight end that they got is a transfer. The reality of the situation is, if you can work it out in that portal, you can figure it out. You can, and I think that the portal and recruiting is a balance, because you can't have 100% portal. In today's words, you can't have 100% recruiting. You got to work it out, balance your team out for what's best for you, but you need to get in there. Dabo right now is just like, oh, well, we run our program the way we run our program, and screw it if you don't like it. Well, listen, as long as you win, everything's okay. The minute you start losing, everything's going to come into question, and you're losing because these other teams have experienced players that have been there, done that. They've seen it at smaller schools. Keon Coleman was the star of Michigan State. He wasn't just a guy at Michigan. He was everything to Michigan State, and they knew that. When he left, those message boards were already screaming, we got to fire him. We got to find a way to get rid of Tucker. Now, Tucker did his own thing to get himself up out of there, but the reality is—
he was bamboozled.
Hey, I agree. I actually agree with you. When you look at all the evidence, some interesting conclusions can be drawn there, but the reality is very simple. He got a bunch of guys who were already the guys somewhere else and said, hey, you come on here, be the guy at Florida State. We'll give you everything you need, and that's what happened. Dabo needs to adjust to that, or he'll continue to get whooped on by teams who are willing to get in the transfer portal, like a Notre Dame, who's gotten multiple players who have been big-time players, including your QB1 right now, out of the portal.
Now, the funny thing, Left, Marcus Freeman is our type of guy, Left, and we say this all the time, because Marcus Freeman has conversations week to week. He said this. He told Notre Dame fans last week, after this Clemson game, we got another bye week, and I'm going to sit down and ask my staff if we need another transfer quarterback. This man, after Drew Pine led Notre Dame to the big victory over Clemson at the end of the season last year, he sat Drew Pine down weeks later and said, hey, man, we going to the transfer portal. You might want to think about where you want to go. But, Coach, I just led us to— I understand that. I understand.
And we appreciate all the ball that you played here, brother. We appreciate
it. Tyler's back from injury. He's going to start the bowl game. And both of you all, I'm letting both of you all know, we're getting a quarterback from the transfer portal. See, I appreciate a coach like that. I appreciate people like that. Let me know where I stand.
Absolutely.
If you don't like me, just tell me. And we can still have conversations, might laugh every now and then, but at least I know where you stand.
Hey, listen, in the words of Fantasia Barrino, if you don't want me, then don't talk to me. Man, go ahead and free yourself. Go ahead. You know what I mean? I do agree. I think that, we can both talk about this ad nauseum, Left, in terms of coaches in college and not telling you that.
Oh, that was a bar, man. I ain't gonna lie. That Fantasia line was a bar.
I mean, it's the truth, though. It's the truth. It's the truth. Listen, Miss Barrino got in that studio. The rent was due. The car got repoed. The lights was halfway off. She was using the candles to keep that thing lit. And she did what she needed to do, because it's the truth, right? A lot of college coaches, even while players are on the team now, they're still recruiting, and they're still, hey, man, we know you're the third receiver right now. Don't worry about it, brother. We've got these two guys leaving, and we're not going anywhere. We're not looking at anybody in the portal. We're not talking to anybody. Next thing you know, you look up, and it's like, wait a minute, where did these 2 6'5" guys come from? Hold on. Wait, what's going on here? But
they got to be careful doing that now, because people are leaving, and that's
the thing. If you're recruiting over somebody, you're not mad that they left. You know what I mean? Like, if you're recruiting over somebody, you're okay with that. But the reality is, this is a situation where I agree. Marcus Freeman and his ilk, guys who are honest about it, guys who go to the player, because trust me, I still keep my ear to the recruiting streets. I got, a lot of guys who are coming up behind me at Cass Tech that, they put in a call to me. Hey, Kenton, what's this coach like? Hey, I know that you play with this coach, or hey, I know that this coach is a coach that you cover closely. What is he like? And I'm like, hey, man, this is who he is. This is who that guy is. This is who these coaches are. I'm just letting you know. This is something that you should be interested in, or like, that coach, if you asked him to tell you a lie, that boy will finally tell you the truth just to piss you off some more. So, it's the reality of what's going on here. And I do agree that guys like Marcus Freeman who are honest about it and tell you what's going on, those are the ones that you cherish them in today's game, because it's getting more and more rare where everybody's doing what's best for their interest and what's, if keeping Malik on the team will help us out, but we're really looking for 3 other quarterbacks, we'll do that. But we'll tell him what he wants to hear. But then when he's 4th string come to start next season, when he on scout team getting beat up by those 300-pounders because he's the only live quarterback on the team, we just
they do it to you too.
I know. Listen, I've heard about it. And I've seen some firsthand things where I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, I know he ain't agree to that. I know that boy ain't agree to that.
Those tactics they use to try to push kids out, man. Definitely.
Yeah.
Those are the shady things in college football. Absolutely. But the transfer portal being what it is, I know it's probably going to get even worse.
Yeah.
Because these rosters are really going to have to figure itself out in terms of how they're going to manage it. They only giving so many scholarships, and with kids overloading and then high school recruiting taking an impact because of transfer portal, how bad some of these coaches want to win. They might mess up whole programs recruiting style for years to come when they're taking that Los Angeles Rams approach by all money in right now. We trying to win now. And now they rosters is toast.
That's why people were like, man, Deion is throwing his players under the bus. I'm like, that boy knows. That right tackle, he knows.
That right
tackle. Remember what I told you? I said, man, that cat Shador has so much patience. I said, because it's not even about losing the games.
Yeah.
I was like, if I'm Shador, I'm walking up to that dude like, hey, man, you costing me my future. Like, you messing around and costing me money.
I agree.
My NFL career. Like, hey, like, you're not even touching guys when they're rushing.
Yeah.
People getting to me in like 1.8 seconds. And then after he said what he said after the UCLA game, they get the #1 offensive tackle in the JUCO ranks to commit.
I was just about to say, that man, call Deion what you want, but don't call him for fronts. That boy is not stupid. That man knows exactly what he got going on.
And then the #1 tackle from IMG is visiting Colorado this weekend. He ain't.
Of course. Because that's and this is what I mean by you need a mix, right? You need a mix in terms of player development is always going to be important. If you bring in 5 stars and don't do nothing with them, congratulations, your team is going to be cooked anyway. But if you can't mix the two, if you can't blend the two and say, hey, our team is really, really good right now. But you know what? If we could get a great left tackle and a wide receiver who could really, he could stretch the field, I think we could be a national championship contender. When you can go get those things out of the portal, because you need it right away. And if you get a true freshman, even a really good true freshman, right? Unless you got a 1 in a million true freshman, he's going to be good, but he's not going to be playing at that championship level to where he can give you 13 sustained weeks of like, oh, even his worst week is still like, he's good to above average. He's not going to be doing that. You know what I mean? Like an NFL guy, like a guy that's right there on the cusp. He's a first rounder. So, you sit up there and you look at what's going on there. And again, guys like Coach Prime, say what you want about him. Say what you want about him. The man is no fool. He knows exactly what he's saying. He knows exactly what he's doing. People talk about, oh, he got all these celebrities and all this bling. Well, let me ask you this. When UNC had all the celebrities in the bling, what were their recruiting classes looking like? You know what I mean? They was throwing up more ones than if Roman Reigns just entered the building. Like that's the deal. That's who they are. And he knows what 18 to 22-year-olds want to see. He knows what they want to see and what they want to hear. He got these coaches shaking in their boots, coaches that ain't never said nothing to the media before. Dan Lanning been coaching for years. How many times have y'all seen ESPN cameras in their pregame huddle? Not one.
Never.
Except for when what happened? When they played Colorado. Then he had to let the world know. that the University of 50 jerseys ain't doing it for clicks. They're doing it for substance. The university that got more jersey combinations than most people have T-shirts at home, they need to let us know. We're going to play it on the field. They're playing in Hollywood. The university with facilities so grand, it looked like the Taj Mahal of football. They're doing it for substance. You know, that's what it is. Prime got him shaking in the boots, and that's all. He's the Baba Yaga of college football right now, and all these coaches know it.
Yo, it's spot on. And Pete Carroll, in a different way, was just as much as a character. And college football, you know, the people that, you know, you're supposed to do it this way and be that way, they hated on Pete Carroll. They hated that Pete Carroll had Snoop at practices. Pete Carroll used the culture the same way Deion Sanders is using the
Deion's just from it and one's not.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly. And the other part of it is Deion Sanders is larger than life. Like when people talk about, oh yeah, you know, more NFL players should go back to HBCUs and do what Deion did. There are already former NFL players that are at these HBCUs. Eddie George has been at Tennessee State, and he has exposed corruption that was stealing billions of dollars from them in terms of their endowment.
That's a whole nother podcast.
No, I agree, but I'm just saying.
The problem majority of the time is administration.
But I'm saying even if we keep it strictly to football and we say how many coaches had Deion's impact, even without Colorado, even without ever stepping the foot on Jackson State's field, Deion Sanders had a reality show that was just about his life in general after he stopped playing football. And it was wildly entertaining. I was tuned in to WeTV I ain't never seen no Lifetime.
How chubby Shador was back then.
Yeah, man. I was looking at them the other day like, these are the kids from the show?
Yeah.
These are the little boys from the show? Oh, my God. It's so – but that's the reality. Deion Sanders has never not been on TV. From the day that he stepped out his prime all the way up till now, when was the moment where people didn't want to put eyes on TV because Deion's there? Deion is one of one. You know what I mean? Everybody likes to say, oh, that's one of them ones. No. Deion is not one of them ones. He is the one to be him. He's the only Deion that we will ever see. So, kind of to castigate HBCUs and say more of y'all need to go back and get NFL players or it'll end. In order for it to end like this, we've seen it multiple times. We saw it crash and burn with Ed Reed. We saw what's going on with Eddie George. We saw Hugh Grant down to Grambling State. We see multiple NFL guys going back to HBCUs. But again, it's not the same because they're not Deion. They don't get Deion for all the things that he is. He's one of the world's greatest showmen. He's also one of the world's greatest marketers. He's also one of the world's greatest. He's just one of the world's greatest in terms of entertainment. He's one of those. That's what he is. And so, he's pretty in that case.
Bless him, man.
Absolutely.
Not only does he, and man, bless him.
For sure.
Gets to go, man, for what he gets to go home to, bless him.
Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor, I know you injured, bro, but bless you.
Wait, who's Deion going home to?
Huh?
I thought Deion
I thought he was just talking about his life in general. Hold on, who his old lady is? Wait a minute.
Hold on. I, if I'm not mistaken, they're not married, but the relationship is still there. She was there doing the.
Stop it! I'm not gonna throw out the C word. I'm not gonna do that. But that woman had them kids on that show talking about we have a different name and we're going back to on the spaceship.
Yes, she did. She did.
Even as a child, I'm like, wait, something ain't right here. The math ain't mathing. What do you mean they got different names?
And then I wondered why.
Yeah,
the father always seemed to have the kids.
I'm gonna tell you this: it's rare to see a single father get custody. It's real rare. It's real rare. And I that's all I'm gonna say on it because I don't know enough information. I'm not about to sit up here.
Wait a minute, I do my research.
That's all I'm gonna say on it. That's all I'm gonna say. I know that there was a point in time where that the young woman was that woman was incarcerated and he got full custody. That's all I know. And those facts to me point to something being very wrong there. She may be fine if she want to be, but that.
I'm just saying, Tyrod Taylor got hurt, and I'm sure Drea was rubbing his back.
Oh Lord, Lord have mercy. Listen. Don't get in trouble with your old lady on this show now. Don't get. No. We're having a good time, but it's too cold in there to be sleeping on the couch. It's too cold.
Left knows my missus is around the house listening to everything. She knows
Oh, okay.
I have
All right.
fun.
All right.
Dude, I have fun. I crack. Hey, and speaking of blessings, you talked about that. I tell Notre Dame fans, like, hey, you don't know how blessed you are, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like, boy, do you understand? Because, you know, look at what Dion and other coaches around college football are dealing with. Look at Clemson's offensive line and what Dabo's been dealing with.
Well,
Like,
not only that,
the history of offensive linemen is just like tight ends at Notre Dame. Like,
absolutely.
Hey,
absolutely.
Think about this, Kenton. Blake Fisher, the starting right tackle, was the starting left tackle as a true freshman for Jack Cohn at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
He got injured at Florida State the first series of the game. Guess who ended up replacing him?
Was it Joe Alt?
Joe Alt as a true freshman.
Yeah.
And now they're your book. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen, bro.
I'm gonna tell you this. Notre Dame fans should feel blessed for this reason. I tell people all the time, there are about 6 to 7 universities around the country where 8 wins a season ain't enough. Everywhere else, and I really want you to think about this, because I could just type in college, random college generator, right? And I could give you 10 random colleges names off the top of my head, 10 random Power 5 or better college names. And if I told you a coach here is going to win an average of 8 games a year, when do they get fired? Or do they get fired? When do they get fired? And do they build that coach a statue? There are more universities that would build you a statue for winning 8 games a year over the span of 10 to 15 years or so than there are schools that you would get fired at right away, because this is like, no, we need more. We want more. And Notre Dame is one of those ones. Regardless of what's been going on with Notre Dame is one of those ones that, hey, if you can't get us 9, 10 plus a year, oh, don't worry about it, brother. They got a college field. It's not Notre Dame, but it exists. I promise you. There are
That's
plenty
why I'm like,
Hey,
that's why Marcus Freeman.
That's why next year, we're happy, bro.
I'm gonna tell you.
Next year is we get to exhale as a fan base.
Gee,
Kenton, do you know how much pressure it is to live and die with every game, knowing you have to be perfect?
You have to be perfect
to have a chance. And with the expansion of the playoff, now it's like,
I don't know if y'all eyes are working or not, but I got a block S on my chest over here. I don't know what that's like. I, in fact, do not know. I am very much so unfamiliar. No, but very seriously, right? It was the same way playing at Cass Tech. Every time we lost, everybody's, oh, Coach Woodruff need to get fired and I'm just like, come on, man, come on. We're not that type of team. We ain't been winning for forever. We won the first state championship in the history of the city of Detroit in terms of Division I. What are y'all acting like this for? What's happening here? Yeah. But I get it. I get it 1,000%. But I'm gonna tell you this: do y'all really get to breathe? Because I think in Notre Dame, your coach gets 1 year of no expectations tops. And even in that no expectations year, you still got to get to a decent bowl game. You don't have us at the Fenway Bowl 2 times in a row. Right. They do not want a New York Glizzy that bad. They will get you up out the paint quickly at Notre Dame if that's what you're going to be bringing. So,
right. And it's definitely one of those things where the expectations changes, where Notre Dame can seem a little bit more realistic. I mean, I think at this point it's just illogical where we put our expectations each season, even though these games, I mean, hell, our seasons are based on 2 or 3 games a year, and those same 2 or 3 games can mean a tremendous difference in the way people view Notre Dame, because we would be in a position where we're just like Ohio State, making contention runs every other year.
But see, Ohio State, it's not even about this is the crazy thing. Notre Dame is about the record, left.
Yeah.
Ohio State, it's about one other
beat the team. Boys up north.
That's it.
Beat the school
like,
north.
Bro, John Cooper was running off 10-win seasons. Recruiting like crazy.
Yep.
Couldn't beat that squad, dude. We're gonna have to let you go.
And what they saying about Ryan Day right now?
Yeah.
We don't care if that boy stole every signal. We don't care if he stole the turn signal on your car. We don't care. You make no left or right turns. You can't let nobody know nothing of where you going. You better beat Michigan, bro.
Yeah, they don't care nothing about that cheating thing. They will
Chubb,
still fire you.
we don't care if they got the camera crew from Cheaters coming in. Jim Harbaugh, this is not your wife. What are you and Stallions back here doing? They don't care nothing about that. You know what they care about? You know what they care about? Did you beat that team with that M on their hip, or did you beat the winged helmet? That's it. That's it. You know, and so that's the reality. Is I'm gonna tell you this, Marcus Freeman. You're right. You can breathe next year. Next year, that pressure better be back on his neck. They better be breathing back down in there, or else I know something about Notre Dame. I know some. Listen, they're gonna be telling him, "Hey, listen, don't worry about it, brother. Don't worry about it. We still got to pay you out the rest of your contract. You know, you can go ahead."
He just got to get to the second, third round next year, or second round.
I agree. Yeah. I think if he makes it to the playoffs, I think he'll be all right. I think if he, because I know they expanded to 12, so you can make it as a number 10.
That's what I'm saying. We got a lot of room.
But that
we was worried about getting into the 4, the 12,
and
12 teams better every year than us.
And that is my point exactly. So you see how you feel about it right now. Now imagine if 3 games in the next season, your feelings start to change a little. You start to say, well, hold on, are we comfortably one of the best 12 teams in the nation? Then all of a sudden the conversation changes a little bit, and things start to lather up in a little bit of a different way. But this is a situation where, again, I think that Notre Dame fans are again, blessed and highly favored, if you will, because some of us, our fan bases also get mad and want everybody fired after every loss. But I'm like, I don't know if you know this. We haven't won a conference championship in my lifetime, and I'm bald now. I don't, and granted, I'm not the oldest bald guy in the world. Male pattern baldness. Shout out to Dad. Thank you for blessing me with this. But the reality is very simple. Like, why are we doing this when there's not a history of success? Of, hey, we're documented as national championships. Hey, we have a Rocket Ishmael in our history. We have a Jerome Bettis, a Tim Brown.
Wait a minute, y'all got a Joseph Tooney.
We got Joe Tooney, Torrey Holt, Russell Wilson. A lot. We got lots of greats, but I'm saying in terms of championships, we have not won a.
Y'all still claiming Russ, though?
Don't play with me.
Yeah, that's a question. That's a question.
Don't play with me.
Y'all
don't play. We still claim him, and we still claim, we still claim McLeod. Both of them is ours. Both of them is ours.
I get.
Don't play with me.
I get.
Let me tell you something.
Russ,
okay?
I don't know.
Russ
Wilson became a number 1 pick.
Russell Wilson got 2 degrees at NC State. He got his start at NC State. He played more ball in the red and white of NC State than he ever did up there in Badgerland. Don't play with me. And it's not just because I hate the state of Wisconsin.
What does anybody ever remember for that coach saying, you can't play both over here?
And listen,
you can't play baseball and football here?
But here's the thing, okay? Russell Wilson, another one of those guys, and I hate to do this because I'm a devout Christian myself. I go to church every Sunday. I do all the things. If I ain't on the usher board, I'm working in technology. If I ain't working in technology, I'm doing the closing prayer. I'm not going to castigate the entire religion of Christianity. But he's another one of those Christians. He got a little bit of that liar. He got a little bit of that lie. Let me tell you something. If you've ever heard Tom O'Brien speak, you would know Tom O'Brien has no Southern twang in his talk at all. At all. Yeah. That was one of the biggest criticisms that fans out here had of him. They was like, he doesn't sound like one of us at all. So the whole, hey, son, you're only going to play one of these. Russ.
Oh, you said that was a whole script, huh?
Yes. That was 1,000% an okie doke. It was one of those, you remember when Michael Jordan said he walked by me and he said, hey, good game, Mike. And it became personal. And then he was like, yeah, that never happened. I just made that up in my head to make it more interesting. With all due respect, listen. I love Russell Wilson. I love his family. I love him and Sierra. I love him and little baby Future. I love him and all the other children. I love all of them. I wish nothing but prosperity to him. I love him the way I love Phillip Rivers, the way I love Torrey Holt, the way I love Dwayne Washington, the way I love Bradley Chubb. I played with Bradley Chubb. I love all these guys. Love all of them the same way. Russell Wilson got a little bit of that line.
We whooped up on Bradley Chubb too, didn't we?
Worry about yourself. We also beat you in the monsoon.
Yeah, I got us in the monsoon.
We beat you in the monsoon, all right?
Yeah, but I was Bradley
big
Chubb,
physical tough Notre Dame coming through. And if it's
Bradley
raining,
Chubb went on national TV. I remember Bradley Chubb going on national TV talking about Quentin Nelson. Like he was still on his mind, like, hey man, that Quentin Nelson dude, man. Yeah. Who's the best player you played against? Woo.
Yeah, Quentin Nelson, one of them ones. He one of
That
them
dude
ones.
Quentin Nelson, man.
But I'm gonna tell you, at the end of the day, we don't have the history to justify that. The Notre Dame does. Like, for example, one of our greatest seasons ever. Lou Holtz took us undefeated. Ted Brown was the record holder in the ACC for decades in terms of total touchdowns and yards, in terms of rushing yards. And where did our coach go immediately after he left? Where did Lou Holtz go? Do y'all have any clue? Y'all have any clue? I have a feeling y'all have a sneaking suspicion.
Wait a minute. Is that when he went? No, because he came from Arkansas to Notre Dame.
He went straight from NC State. You're right. State to Notre Dame.
You're right.
So
you're right.
We're not the team. We're not that program yet. Like Clemson wasn't always the program that they are right now. They used to be in the same vein where it was like, hey, if you do well at Clemson, you can go on to the dream job. NC State needs to turn themselves into that dream job and do all those things. But for right now, it just doesn't make sense for us to be that mad. Notre Dame fans, I get it. Trust me. I grew up hating Brady Quinn. I grew up hating Jimmy Clausen. I grew up thinking those guys are the devil incarnate because we need to destroy Notre Dame. Like, I grew up with that mentality. I hated Ohio State, Michigan State, and Notre Dame. Those are the teams that I absolutely could not stand. But the reality is, again, Michigan is a team. Winning 8 games there shouldn't be enough. They should have a standard of national championships and all that. But, other schools, and not just NC State, there are plenty of others that, I see somebody said Minnesota in the chat. If they were to go on to win 8 games a season, yeah, you're getting the statue.
They're saying
Coach
Coach Holtz actually left NC State and went to the Jets.
Oh, okay.
He left Minnesota. He left Minnesota to come to Notre Dame.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but either way it goes, NC State is not that job where it's like, all right, you stay here forever and win forever at the moment. And I would hope that goes on to become the case for NC State at some point in time, but who knows?
Hey, man, Lucky Lefty podcast, man. This trio, man, like I said, I don't know what we're going to curate in the future, but we might just have to do an overall culture, college football show, throw in some recruiting, saying that's what I do, that's what you do.
Yeah. Hey, I'm happy to do it.
Hey, man. So let's get to it.
Okay.
The big viral question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you go to a restaurant for food or for service?
All right, y'all finna make me mad. Y'all finna get me hyped. Y'all finna get me hyped right now. Let me start here. Detroit legend Keith Lee needs some respect on his name wherever he goes.
What he's doing.
First thing first.
And I say this: if you need any restaurant owner, if you need a template on how to respond to Keith Lee, go watch Candy Burris.
Yeah.
And her IG response.
Yeah. But let me also say this. I hate this idea that you. So let me calm down. The reality is people are saying Keith Lee is destroying black businesses. He's destroying small businesses, all this and all that. I want to let y'all know a few things that Keith Lee does because he doesn't talk about them enough. So I'm going to brag on him for him right now. That young man tips $1,000 regularly, $1,000 plus to his waiters and waitresses everywhere he goes, regardless of if the food is good, bad, indifferent, regardless if he gave it a 2 out of 10, 10 out of 10, he does that. He matches places money in terms of sales for the day if they go above and beyond to be accommodated. The Jamaican restaurant he went to, and do you know how bad your service got to be for the Jamaican restaurant to be the one to give you the best service? That's one of the markers of a good Jamaican restaurant. If they don't tell you we not had that at least twice, at least for 2 items, the food probably going to be terrible. But they gave him the best service. He matched their total sales for the day. This young man has put businesses that were on the brink of going out of business, taking them to the moon, had them having to hire more staff, and everybody's working their fingers to the bone to accommodate for the leg traffic that they're seeing. And now we're talking about whether or not you go to a restaurant for the food or the service. You go for all of it. What are we doing here? I'm going to tell you this. It's like a house, right? I make this analogy with relationships a lot because people say like, oh, whether or not somebody has money or whether or not this person is pretty or whether or not this person can do certain adult things that you like is not everything in a relationship. And I like to say this. It is like a car or a house, right? like your power steering ain't everything in your car, but if it goes out, it's gonna be a problem, right?
Ooh-wee.
Your
Man.
bathroom isn't everything in your house, but if you got a shower one day and you go in and you open the door and they're like, when did this room become all carpet and look like a third bedroom? There's going to be some problems, right? Or if your bathroom is always, every time you flush the toilet, everything all of a sudden starts flooding out of every drain, there's going to be a problem, right? It's the same thing with restaurants and their service. Yes, you go for the food. Yes, you go for the ambiance, but you also go for good service. If I go to a restaurant and they sitting up there being disrespectful, being nasty, I got to beg for a second cup of water, anything like that, I'm not going back to that restaurant. I'm sorry to tell you. I am a big guy that did not grow up rich. I used to eat $2 steaks that were tougher than me. You understand? And I finished practice with a torn bicep.
The old
So
school steakums? You talking about the old school steakums?
No, I'm talking about the little steaks from Walmart that like it never really told you what cut, what type of steak it was. It literally just said steak on the little thing. And
yes, sir, I understand.
You could cook that thing to the perfect tenderness. It still was gonna be
tough.
You was chewing the hockey puck. That thing was just, you chew on that thing longer than you could chew on the zebra stripe bubble gum to get it down. And that was the reality. So I'm fine taking my money elsewhere. I'm sorry. I don't care how good your stuff is. I don't care how garlic parm infused your lamb chops are. I don't care how much grass you have on the wall. If you cannot do customer service, you should not be running a business. That's just the reality. That's just the reality. I'm more likely to come back to a place that has decent food and amazing customer service than I am to go to a place with amazing food and terrible customer service. I'm sorry. Like, that's just, I go to these places to, if I'm ordering takeout, that's one thing. But if I'm sitting down in a restaurant, I'm coming for the service, fool. I can eat this food at home if I was coming for just the food.
Yeah. See, let me tell you something. This is my experience. Because when this came up, this is something recently I had to deal with in Chicago. So my cousin from Memphis was in town for a conference.
Yeah.
And he was like, yo, we're going to meet up Friday night before I fly back out, go to dinner. Cool. You know, I bring the missus, I make reservations at Kitchen and Cocktails, a Black-owned restaurant centered around soul food downtown Chicago.
Not the True, what is it? Is it Crew or True Kitchen and Cocktails or whatever?
The guy, he has one in, I think one is in DC. There's also one in Dallas, and there's one in Chicago.
But is this the guy? Is this the guy that went viral for like the rules and like kicking the girls out for dancing on the table or whatever? Is this that one?
I'm not sure, but
okay. All right.
The one in Chicago had a shooting out in front, so they checked my wife's purse when she came in. So yes, then things have changed. So you might be right. This is my issue. I didn't use the app. I called in. See, I'm old school. Right. I called in and made my reservation. Actually spoke to someone.
Yeah.
Confirmed it. Had her read it back to me. 8 o'clock reservation.
Yeah.
4 parties there. They have a great bar area. The bar area, if you just want to go to the bar, fantastic ambiance, bar, everything. Vibe is wonderful. I looked at my watch at 9:15. I was still standing at the bar. So, I'm just blessed that I have some connects. I call my guy, who's one of the managers at the Lux Bar on the north side. Said, yo, you got something for me? He said, fall through. Not only did I fall through, my wife has a seafood allergy. They made the mistake of like putting her chicken like in some fish grease or something.
Yeah.
Whatever. Dude, made another mistake. Manager comes over like, look, don't worry about anything on the table. We got it. And all of you all can order whatever dessert you want.
Yeah.
See, because mistakes can be made.
Yeah.
But as long as you get that service, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. It's how you bounce back. It's how you bounce back. And like, the reality is
I'm not going back to Kitchen and Cocktails.
No.
Ever.
No.
And that's because of service.
And watch this. The reality of this ball game is this. You do realize people don't have to spend their money with you. with all due respect, you're a brunch spot in Atlanta. You think you're the only one? You think you're the only one? Dollars to Donuts. I can find another one less than 20 minutes away from you. What you want to bet? Come on, shake my hand. Shake a poor sinner's hand. I guarantee you I can do it. I can just have my Krispy Kreme ready and make sure it come out with the hot light on. Just make sure you do that. Because I'm telling you, there is, and again, the other part of this is people have to understand there are two parts of this that I want to address real quick. Or actually three. And then I'm gonna let you cook on this one. First thing first, people are saying he's tearing down a black business. Okay, let's do the math. If this is a black business that's based in a black neighborhood and your patronage is a majority black, right? If all of those things are true, let's say you have how many people would you estimate are on staff? What, 20, 30 at an average small restaurant or whatever? And maybe that's a little aggressive.
That's a little aggressive. Yeah, but
okay.
Yeah.
So let's take it down. Let's say 15, right?
Okay.
15 people on staff full time. Okay, 15 on staff full time. If you're serving 100 people a day, 30 are regulars, 70 are new people, right? Over the course of just a business week's time, you got your, again, I'm saying you're serving 100 a day, 30 are regulars. So that means that you're serving 350 new people and 30 people that are constantly there a day normally. That is 380 black patrons that you are giving terrible service, that you are giving long wait times, that you are giving disrespect. What are we doing on that count? And then moving beyond that. So really, him helping these people understand your service is subpar is helping the community more than hurting. But now let's go to the next part of this thing, shall we? Keith Lee does honest food reviews. That is why we watch. It is not because you guaranteed to hear wherever Keith Lee go, oh, that's going to be the new spot. That's going to be the new, oh, we love, at Keith Lee, just every food he touches, the greatest food he ever seen. He's going to tell you straight up and down, hey, this is a 2 out of 10. This is a 3 out of 10. This is a for show you right on. This is an 8 out of 10. This is a 9.9 out of 10. He's going to tell you exactly what it is to him. If every review is good, it's not genuine because all of these restaurants are not good. There is nothing in life, or not nothing. There is a very extreme minority of things that all of it is either wholly good or wholly bad. They're just in. We're talking about football right now. There are amazingly run programs. There are terribly run programs. There are great DCs. There are bad DCs. Same for OCs. There's amazing ones. There's bad ones. That's the reality of life. Everything can't be good all the time. It can't be, hey, I'm Keith Lee. Everywhere I go, it's amazing. I'm going to try it and rate it 9.5 through 10. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. And then the last thing, that for people to say stuff like, oh, he gonna get beat up, he gonna get touched, somebody gonna do something to him for going to these places. That is an MMA fighter from Detroit, baby. His brother is an MMA fighter. And again, they're from Detroit. Again, as somebody who, in the words of Stevie Wonder, I was blessed to be raised on the west side of Detroit. I promise you, beating him up, again, he's an MMA fighter. That's not the option you want. But to threaten gunplay and crashing out, number one, you might not win that either. But number two, you're going to crash out and lose your entire freedom over somebody saying that y'all did not want to seat them. If you put your life savings into something and you work so hard to do it, wouldn't you just get better at it? If your wife one day came home and said, honey, I need you to be more attentive to my needs and then cleaning the car, what would you do? Would you instantly say, oh, I'm going to leave, I'm going to crash out, I'm going to go get me a side chick and never come back? Or would you simply say, you know what, babe, let me go get the car detail and how can I be a better man for you? How can I do that? Same thing for you to your wife. If you told her those things, you would be surprised and shocking off. She was, oh, no, you can't tell me I got a problem. I got to do something drastic because you said I got a problem. That is how these things work. If you believe that your restaurant is something that you poured your life into, fix it. Fix the problem. Keith ain't coming in there saying, I have never once heard Keith say 1 out of 10 about the food, about actual food. And you know what he also says on everyone? This is what it is to me. You go have the food and try it on your own. So, that's just how I feel. And I'm going to let you take it from there. But that, just for
yo, a lot of your bros are tapping in that are listeners to the show. Our guy Noob Life from down at ATL.
Absolutely.
Says, yo, I'll pay extra for quality service, and I got coffee for closers. Is also one of your bros down in ATL.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. I've taken multiple trips to Atlanta before, and I tell people all the time, I don't need the aesthetic food. Just give me good food. We can eat it at the crib. I don't need to be out and about. I don't need to be seen. I don't need to, be on the town and enjoy the vibe and the atmosphere. Just give me the food to go. If we got to wait for 3 hours for just give me the food to go.
See, I thank him because he brings accountability.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go outside of the restaurants.
Yeah.
He brings accountability to the culture and the community.
Absolutely.
Because what have we said as consumers standing in our favorite fast food restaurants in the culture and community for years?
Yeah. Yeah.
The food is banging.
Absolutely.
No question.
Absolutely.
The 6-wing, mild, hot sauce, salt and pepper from Harold's is banging.
Absolutely.
Coney Island.
Hey. Hey now. I never had bad Coney now.
Dude, my cousin, let me tell you something, man. We used to go to the 2 festivals in August outside. Remember old Joe Louis Arena?
Yeah.
And the little open area where they used to have the festivals back in the day in Detroit.
Yeah.
I was up there every August for the African American Festival, and then there was another festival, dude. Fantastic time, bro. You couldn't tell my cousin, dude, and he stayed in Jackson at the time, which is like an hour away.
Yeah, Jackson, Michigan that's a trip, and that's where the prison is too. He a wild boy. He a wild boy.
Oh man,
Jackson. He a wild boy. Yo to the dupes in the chat, by the way.
Matter of fact, he's in Memphis now. He started out after college as one of the administrators at the prison.
Oh, okay. See, it makes sense they live in Jackson now. Now it's like, okay.
Well, he got to Jackson because his father ended up. That's where he got his first principal job.
Okay.
At the elementary school in Jackson. I got some offline stories as a young teenage brother going up to Jackson for summers, not understanding the culture and not understanding man, offline because
that's a different
I'm losing subscribers if I tell these stories. You talk about culture shock.
Boy, I'll tell you. I
had to apologize to my cousin because I didn't understand that he had to learn how to, he had to learn how to work in that culture. And I was being straight judgmental, like, hold on, what you doing, dog?
Yeah.
That's not how we operate when you in the shy.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. Dude, the festivals were great. Coney Island, you couldn't tell him anything. We gonna get some dogs.
Yeah.
He gets
and I'm gonna tell you, Coney Island is not top tier Detroit food, but it's comfort food. It's comfort. You go in, you know what you're gonna get. It's cheap, it's available, and it's right on time. You don't got. I ain't never heard nobody say I got to wait an hour and a half to get breakfast at Coney Island. You walk in Coney Island, you order what you order. If you're sitting down, you sit down. Now, please be warned, Coney Island is the Waffle House in Detroit. So if something pop off, nobody gonna feel bad for you. You know what I mean? Like if something bad happened to you at IHOP, people are like, oh my God, that's so terrible. Oh, a fight broke out at IHOP. Wow, I cannot believe this. I cannot. We used to live in a proper country. At Coney Island. Hey, so wait, you was like eating in Coney Island? You were just chilling in the restaurant?
Yeah. No, we see, man.
That's great.
This is where look. I'm just following my cousin.
I understand.
Like, cause he had boys that lived in the D. You know what I'm saying? So they were like, man, we good. I'm like, all right, I'm from Chicago. I'm rolling with y'all. You say we good, we good. And we never had, I've seen some things.
Yeah.
But man, we never, thank God, we never had anything like befall us that.
Yeah, 99% of the time, you're never in the stuff. It's like at Waffle House, you're never in the actual stuff. It just happens and you're just there like,
looking at it.
Finish this All-Star special because I'd have paid for it already.
Absolutely.
Them boys better stay away from over here with that. That's some debauchery.
I mentioned what happened to me. It brings accountability to us as a consumer to stop just saying what we've been saying to each other for all the years and actually do something about it.
But I'm gonna tell you, this is something that I've often never understood about most folks. Me personally, and I understand that I have a palate that can take most foods and be like, I'm all right. Because again, I didn't grow up in a family where every day we were eating steaks the size of our backs, perfectly seared at medium. Like that's just not it. So you know, if you don't treat me right, I'm not taking my money back there. I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not. With all due respect, there's no food, and I mean that very genuinely. I have never had any food in my life that I'm like, even if I had to wait for 2 hours, even though I made a reservation, I come here again. Even though the waitress or waiter only came to see me one time to refill my water, I'm gonna be coming back here. Even though, you know, they told me an hour and a half wait time, then a celebrity pulled up and they were like, no, I ain't got no reservation, but I'm Usher Raymond, and they just got let in that I'm cool with going back. No, no, not happening. So to me, I feel like, yes, Keith Lee is bringing accountability, but it also falls on us as individuals to say, like, stop patronizing businesses that have this bad, you know, customer service. And I guarantee you it'll get better. I guarantee you, when these companies start seeing their money dry up without Keith Lee having to come in, when you say, hey, you can't call in, you can't walk up, we don't do carry out, we don't do no parties bigger than 5, but also if your party is smaller than 4, everybody need to be there before you can sit. Don't worry about it, friend. Don't worry about it, friend. I came to eat. I ain't come to get more rules than I did in elementary school. Don't worry about it. Y'all stay right where y'all are. I know you're going to do that because you paid a lot for this storefront. I'm going to take my business elsewhere and just rock it like that. Because me, I'm going to do that every time. Hey, don't worry about it. I'm not, you know, oh, I got to come dressed to the nines for brunch. No. If I want to wear jogging pants or basketball shorts or whatever the case may be, what's the problem? Like, I'm not showing nothing that's crazy. Like, oh my God, he's got his junk all out in the street. Then sure, but I'm just wearing regular clothes.
Now, State 48, which I've been to with my parents and a couple other friends and my wife.
Yeah.
Great steakhouse downtown Chicago.
Yeah.
I think they're franchise. I think they're from down south. They went crazy. And look, I understand. Like, you know, there was a big story in the Chicago papers because, you know, they all of a sudden came up with this huge dress code, right? Yeah. And the dress code was cultural as hell.
Yeah, yeah. No hats, no t-shirts, no jewelry bigger than such and so, all that type of stuff.
Yeah. You know, and it's like when you mention in your dress code, man, what do they refer to? You know, some of our ladies wear in the shower.
Bonnet?
Yeah, no bonnets. I'm like, bruh, no bonnets. Now y'all just throwing stuff, y'all copying and pasting. Like, okay, let's make sure we get nobody.
And listen, if you don't want my money,
with a bonnet, man.
If you don't want my money, I'm not giving it to you. And also another thing here's the biggest thing about all those rules that blows me. It's only enforced on certain people. It's only enforced on certain people. I've seen plenty of restaurants that had you can't dress this way, you can't dress that way. And you look in but you come dressed to the nines because you know you got to follow the dress code. You ain't nobody special. And then you look in there and see somebody breaking 3-4 of the rules all at one table. You just like, now wait a minute. Y'all said no head coverings. Now I'm sure that woman at that table got on the head cover. You said no open toe shoes for men. And the man that she's with got on sandals. And you said that, you know, that's, again, I treat any customer, be it bad customer service because you're like, oh, well, I'm one of y'all, so I can give you bad customer service and we good. Or be it bad customer service because it's like, we don't really want your kind here. I treat it all the same. Don't worry about it, baby. Listen, like I said earlier about the transfer portal, same thing with my dollars. If you don't want me, then don't talk to me. I'm going to go ahead and seat myself elsewhere. That's what I'm going to do.
There's a spot here, Tavern on LaGrange, that has become like the spot for live music. Man, you found out they don't pay their employees. I was like, I can't.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Can't rock with you. And I've never been, but I've heard great things about it. But I'm like, that's enough for me.
Absolutely.
And this takes you know, because you guys know the producer I am. I don't just bring up a subject not to bring it back to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
You know, I'm always bring it back to Notre Dame.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we're talking food, service, the importance for service. We had Notre Dame great Corey Minor on the show yesterday, bro. And he said his biggest fear is that Marcus Freeman's going to end up at Ohio State. He said that's his biggest fear.
Oh.
And Malik and I probably have been the only outspoken. There's probably other guys that do Notre Dame coverage that might feel the same way, but we've been open about, hey man, if you don't start treating this brother better, helping him out, giving him some things that he needs to get this program to the next level, giving him the offensive coordinator he actually wants, instead of balking on a payout. Notre Dame, we balking on a $2 million payout? Really? That's what we're doing? You know, you basically give the offensive coordinator that was hired prior to Marcus Freeman being hired, by the way, you give him the right to veto Marcus Freeman on staff hires? Really?
You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that for no other coach. Harbaugh not going for that. Saban not going for that. Even if you're talking first-time head coach, Ryan Day not going for that. And he wasn't a head coach before Ohio State. He wouldn't be going for
in the business, who's saying no to Notre Dame? Like, even if that's the situation he's going into, bro, who's going to say no? Like, you never had a head coaching job, and literally you're looking Notre Dame in the face, even with all of those things. He's not saying no to that.
It's one of those things where, and I'm gonna say this, and you know, Candace Cooper and I, my co-host on Locked On ACC, have had the conversation before about like how hard
That's our girl.
Absolutely love her to death, and you know, we talk about you know, like, do you root for Black coaches harder, whatever the case may be, and I say I root for fairness amongst Black coaches. That's what I root for more than anything else, right? And so, what does that look like, and what does that mean? I'm not a person who says, hey, that head coach is Black, therefore I want him to be great, because I'm not one of those Black excellence people. I'm not one of those people that's like, hey, Black people have to be excellent to exist in any space. I believe that we need to be allowed mediocrity. We need to be allowed to fail just like everybody else, but give us the grace and respect in our failure and in our time in being a certain place that you would for our white counterparts, right? Like, I don't think it's fair the way that Taggart was treated at Florida State versus how Norvell was treated at Florida State. If you look at their records through the exact game mark where Taggart was fired, Norvell had a worse record. And yet look what happened. They gave him more time and grace, and look at the team now. And people can argue, well, Taggart has been bad everywhere that he's gone since then, so that's a horrible example. That's fair, but I'm not talking about strictly, hey, do I think that, you know, do I think that Taggart is a better coach than Norvell? I'm talking about, was it fair the way that they were treated? Were they given the same respect and grace? Because when Taggart got there, he did not know that the head coach was responsible for booking hotel rooms and flights and all that to the extent which they were, because that doesn't happen anywhere else. It just doesn't. There's a person there for that. As a matter of fact, not a person, there's an entire staff for that. That's your operations staff. You know, when you see a football team and you see a director of operations, assistant director of operations, that's what they're responsible for. The travel, the meals, all that, that's their job. The fact that Florida State, being a program as massive as they were, not having that in place, that's not on Taggart. That's not on Taggart. The fact that he had to deal with that, as a matter of fact, should be a reason that y'all give him more grace. The fact that he had to hire that and install that there should be a reason for y'all to say, well, wait a minute, he did face battles that Norvell wouldn't. He did have to crawl in some aspects so Norvell could walk and then run. That's what that should be. But that's what I mean in rooting for fairness. Rooting for fairness means we can point out, hey, Dino Babers is really not good at his job. He's not good at it. He is losing a lot of ball games. And not only is he losing a lot of ball games, he's losing them through like clock management at times, which is god awful. We need to be able to point that out. We need to be able to point at coaches that, again, everybody ain't going to be Marcus Freeman and do these wonderful things out the gate. Everybody's not going to be that coach. There's going to be some average. There's going to be some mediocre. There's going to be some bad. But give that bad the same respect and the time that you would otherwise. And don't say, well, there's Marvin Lewis. He stuck around forever. We all know the Bengals never wanted to spend a dime, and they ain't never spent a dime. They just start spending some money now. This is the first time they're going to spend some money. So let's stop playing like they gave Marvin Lewis the highest salary every year. You know, they were signing every check they could, and they just couldn't get it done. And even then, Marvin Lewis is one. He's the exception, not the rule. I can point to you many a coach that, you know, from other places that it doesn't happen. And this is the last thing I'm going to say on it. what happened to Mel Tucker is the biggest example of why I say I push for fairness. Because watch this. Mel Tucker, after he was fired, there were legitimate columns in the Detroit Free Press. Detroit is the blackest major city in America by percentage of population. Black is in America. And they were asking, do fellow African-American coaches have to be on the lookout or feel like their position is at stake because of what Mel Tucker did? I did not see that same type of article come out for Urban Meyer, for Rick Pitino, for Mark Godfrey, and God rest his soul, for some of the things that have happened for some coaches who have passed now, that they were fired under very bad circumstances, that are now, moved on to the great coaching box in the sky or the other place, whatever you believe about them. This it's insanity, and that is what I mean by I root for fairness. Even if Mel Tucker never won another game, be fair to the man, be fair to his people, and don't say, oh boy, you lost, or you did a bad thing. So now James Franklin, who ain't committed not nary a crime up there in Happy Valley, needs to be worried. Marcus Freeman, who ain't committed not nary a crime in South Bend, deserves to be worried because this fool went out there and did something to embarrass the university. That's not, because again, nobody's asking about white. Well, Harbaugh just did something bad. Do we need to worry about white coaches? Oh boy. Oh man. So, that's just my thought there.
See, you just touched on something that's I told you, I'm a type of individual. Since I love for people to let me know where they stand, I'm going to let you know where I stand.
Absolutely.
See, this is the podcast. You ain't getting no rest in the heaven for a certain coach that passed away last night. Not on this podcast.
Hey, I understand. That's why I said wherever
Not
you
on
think
this
they
podcast.
are. Wherever you think they are. Listen,
I don't want anybody to pass away. I wish we all could live life down here forever, like Old Testament style, like Methuselah
I don't
style.
know. They raising the rent too crazy for me to want to be out here forever. Now, hold on. Wait a minute. But I got you.
Man. Man. Are you kidding me?
Hey, listen.
The way y'all tried to, because of that situation where Juwan Howard was trying to protect his player because he saw an assistant coach touch his player, and the way you all reacted and wrote stories about him, when his character, in high school, as a member of the Fab Five, a coach in the NBA, a player in the NBA, is
one of the
pristine.
One of the first ever NBA players to get a $100 million contract.
And the way you tried to characterize him and allow this dude to operate with impunity for years, man, no, he gets no love from me. None. The way he spoke about the Fab Five, the way he spoke about Juwan Howard when they were playing, the disrespectful stuff that he said that was borderline racial. Nah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'll tell you, ain't no borderline. That man clearly hopped over the line. He's like, where's the line? Let me step 3 steps back. But that's exactly what I mean, though, right? Like that's what I mean in terms of fairness, in terms of, the reality is it's always a difference. And with certain coaches, there's always this like need to push certain narratives and always be negative about them and all that good stuff. And it's like, for example, with Deion Sanders and what we're seeing right now, where like when they lost to Oregon, somebody said, Coach Lanning took a stand for all of us. What do you mean by that? You graduated from USC, babes.
I saw that tweet. Tweet.
Who is us? And what was the stand taken? What was the stand taken? Please let me know. But that's just it's the way in which things function, in which I don't subscribe to that amount of tribalism to where I'm like, hey, this is my tribe and forget everybody else's tribe. Listen, I want all of us to be in a more egalitarian world, a more fair world, and a better world. That's all we're asking for. Exactly. That's it. I'm not saying that, hey, black coaches should be allowed to be terrible for 80 years. I'm not saying that. But all I'm saying is, if I'm looking up and watching Adam Gase go from 1 job to 2 jobs to 3 jobs as a head coach, where he absolutely
Josh McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels is another one. Absolutely decimates every team that he's on. No team that he's ever coached has gotten better because he was there. His best season ever as a coach was at 500, but he's gonna get another coaching job. Dollars to donuts.
Ask me.
Oh, well, who
as a Bears fan, Lovie Smith got fired after a 10-win
season. And let me ask you this. Have the Bears won 10 games in the season since? Isn't it
No.
funny? Do you feel a little dumb? Do you feel a little stupid having fired a head coach who won 10 games? Because it's just not enough. And let me tell you something. The Lions with Jim Caldwell. I told folks for years, you can say what you want about Jim Caldwell and him getting fired. His ability to coach and win football games with the Detroit Lions was greater than anything that we had ever seen from another Detroit Lions head coach. That is just
for some reason, Jim Caldwell never has a problem getting a job.
Yeah, it's just not a head job. Yeah, just not a head job.
He is, dude, they called him in to bring him next to Bryce Young, like, yo, this is what you do. You're good at that. We're going to entrust you to be part of his development.
But how many
someone like you?
But my question is this: how many head coaches have we seen get hired on the premise of you're going to be our quarterback whisperer, our quarterback guru, you're going to be the guy, go do your thing, and then they say, all right, we're going to build you a great roster. Just tell us what you need, we'll get it to you, and we need you to mentor up our great quarterback. When Jim Caldwell has the ability, he has the track record, he has the proven. Matt Stafford broke every record, everything in terms of passing yards. They did not surround him with a good team. And when they did, they went ahead and won them some football games. They went ahead and got to the playoffs. But even in the playoffs, those defenses were giving up an average, I want to say it was either 28 or 35 points per game when he was there. And this is not the NFL we look at today. And even if it is the NFL we look at today, you still shouldn't be averaging 30, giving up 35 a game. That's just not that's not a recipe for winning. So,
bro,
you know,
look, people complain. Look, I don't want to get into quarterback development. Dude, as a young quarterback, having to develop, that's enough. Justin Fields walked out every week knowing if he didn't score 38 points, he had no shot. So people try to throw his win-loss record on him like this is his win-loss record. The Bears defense was last in the league for 2 consecutive years with a defensive head coach.
What
are we talking about?
My rebuttal to that would always be very simple, okay? If you point that out, I want you to also point out where his defense is ranked in yards per play. And you can specify to say yards per play under 60 plays because I want to know what they did when they were fresh. Show me what they did when they were fresh, right? Because most of the time you find out that those bad teams were also bad at that. That's the reality. When you look at Peyton Manning and guys like that,
I would agree with you.
When you look at Peyton Manning and guys like that, his first year, he was throwing interceptions out the wazoo. He couldn't. That boy was throwing to the other team so much they asked, was he colorblind? Because you're not hitting the right jerseys. And yet still, look what the sheriff became. Because he was given that time, given that grace, given the opportunity to develop. Look what Geno Smith is doing now in Seattle because he was not given the time. He was not given. And I'm not saying that Geno was going to turn into Peyton. Again, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is give these quarterbacks the opportunity. Folks gave up on Baker Mayfield when based on he walked into a situation where you had a 2-back system where both of them were amazing. You had one of the best offensive lines in the nation. You had a receiving core that was always above average, a defense that was rolling for the most part as you got into years 2 and 3 and etc. And what did you do? Did you make that team better? Did you make that team a winner? Did you make that team everything? So, you know, I feel that way with any leadership position. That's always going to be what it is for us, right? We're always going to fix that up.
In my opinion, the difference between Marvin Lewis and Zach Taylor is that Joe Burrow stayed healthy and Carson Palmer did.
Yeah.
Because it's literally the same. Look, Marvin Lewis got saved by those young receivers, Ocho, and when he got them, that trio. And then Carson Palmer showed up. It's the same thing with the receiving core now and Joe Burrow. Okay. It's the same thing happening. Joe Burrow has just been able to stay healthy. When Joe Burrow had that little calf injury at the beginning of the season.
Oh, they were terrible. They were terrible.
Yeah. He got healthy. You see what's happening now. Zach Taylor is not that great of a coach.
I mean, I think that here's the thing, right? I think most things in life, including coaching, work on the bell curve, right? Like there is like you're exceptionally bad, and then there's like a Y group that like they're average. If you give them a good team, they'll do good things with you. And like, if
Mhm.
not, cool. And then there's like always that one or two that like they can make chicken salad out of chicken scratch. That you can give them absolute dog water and they'll make a decent team. But again, that's one or two coaches in the NFL. And even then, those coaches are so rare, they're kind of like generational. And that generational ability to coach can also leave you, as we're seeing with Bill Belichick. A lot of people would say, oh, it was just Tom Brady. It was just Tom Brady. No, it wasn't. There was a year where he had Matt Castle as his starting quarterback for a majority of it. And what did he do?
Mhm.
He made Matt Castle a Pro Bowler. So like that's the reality of what we're looking at there. But it's the game has changed. Back in the day, guys would sacrifice. They know, hey, I'm coming to the end of my career. I will sacrifice a couple of $1 million in order to get a ring instead of taking 30 mil over 3 years to play in Jacksonville. I'll take, let's say 17 million over 3 to play with New England and get a ring. But guys now are more aware of the business part of this than ever. Guys now are more aware of, wait a minute, there are players who had phenomenal careers, went on to win multiple Super Bowls, and they're selling those off to make money because they're short. And so now guys are more willing to say, hey, I don't, even at end of career, I'm not going to take a pay cut to win. I'm not doing it, period. When they get to the playoffs, all of us get the exact same game check. What do I have to kill myself for here? That, whether it's right or wrong, I disagree with that philosophy personally, but that's not my place to decide for them what to do with their bodies in that moment. It's just not. So, you're looking at a different breed of athletes, different generations of athletes coming along who are more aware of the business side. Well, like when people were asking after their most recent loss, should Caleb Williams shut it down for the year? Like, it's just a different mentality. It's a different athlete than it was in the past. And that's not to say Caleb Williams should or whether or not he was actually considering it, but that was a question after they lost that second game. So I get it. I get how these things happen and work, and that it's a very, again, I want black coaches to be allowed to be in the middle of that curve without being treated like they're on the back end of it. Like, that to me is just, it's downright nasty work.
Look, man, I don't know what's wrong with Michigan State. And Malik was the first one to say it. But he was like, yo, Michigan State just needs to throw the bag at Freeman.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can see it. I can see
It's
here's
stuff
the
like the
Here's the
urban
deal.
stuff has been out there, but it's like, if and Notre Dame is what it is, bro.
But I think that they should do it because their buyout for Mel Tucker just went to zero. Their buyout went to zero. So,
And I think Marcus's buyout will probably it's not that much.
Listen, if I was him, hey, I consider it because I'm gonna tell you this much.
Now see, because I can't say certain things. You tell me, if Michigan State, this is a fair, unbiased opinion from Ken Gibbs, Notre Dame fans.
And listen, I hated Michigan State for years growing up. I hated them for years growing up.
If you're Marcus Freeman and Michigan State hits your agent like, hey, we got 8 to 10 mil.
Mm-hmm.
Well, most fans would be like, why would he leave Notre Dame?
If that's doubling or 1.5 in his salary at Notre Dame, I'll simply ask it like this. To the fans who say it's ridiculous that he leaves and it doesn't make sense, I'd ask them this, right? Let's say you work at Microsoft. Let's say you work at Facebook. Let's say you work at Google, whatever. One of those FANG companies, as they call it, okay? And you're making $150,000 as an engineer, right? You're one of the best engineers that they got, but, you're just not at that super high senior level to where they're making a 375, 500, whatever the case may be. Or let's say even you are. You're the most senior engineer there. You're the head of AI. You're making $500,000 a year to do Meta's AI, right? And then a company that has the same type of staying power, they have that same type of, like, they're not as big, but they've been a company for 50, 60 years. So it's not like a startup where you don't know, you're walking into the wilderness and in 2 months they could tell you, hey, we don't got no money left. This is a company that you know for a fact. You've looked at their financials, everything is solid there. And they tell you, okay, Facebook's paying you $500,000, but we'll pay you $1 million to come with us. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You would be a fool not to consider it, not to look it over. When people got mad at Deion for leaving Jackson State, the only thing that I would say people had a reason to get mad at him about was the idea of you cannot preach why not here, why not us, and I'm meant to be here, and then like, hey, when I got a bigger bag, I went on to greener pastures. But even in that regard, if he didn't say, which I have not done enough research to say, I know for a fact he did or didn't say this. If he didn't say, hey, this is where I am meant to be long term, this is where I'm supposed to plant my roots and do the great things here and flourish here for a long time, I'm supposed to build longevity here. If he said those things, then absolutely, there's a problem. But if not, he's just doing what anybody would do. Your job, you would not stay at your black-owned business and turn down a 2 times pay salary, 3 times, 4 times pay salary increase for another company just because they're white. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't. So why are you asking him to do that? And I would say the same for Marcus Freeman. If you're talking about if Michigan threw him 2 times his current salary, I don't know what his current salary is, so I don't want to speculate. But if they say 8 to 10 and that's doubling what he's getting now, well, listen, y'all don't have to answer to Mrs. Freeman. He does. Y'all don't have to answer to the little baby Freemans at home. He does. And I know a lot of y'all are thinking, well, that's $4 million a year or $5 million or whatever Notre Dame is paying. He doesn't have to worry about answering to them regardless. I'm going to tell you this. Y'all have never been married or y'all have never dated a woman before because they're, you know, when y'all are going through it and y'all got to use her money for the furniture, it's rooms to go. You get that little $150 couch that you know finna start sagging in a few months. Let you start making some chips. And now y'all going, it's Ashley Home Furniture. It's custom made. We need to get this. Hey, listen, I know a guy who makes couches. What you mean you know a guy who makes couches? We was room to go people. Why are we going anywhere but rooms to go? You know,
let's go see Usher in Vegas.
Yeah, now wait a minute.
Let's go see Adele in Vegas.
Now wait a minute. No, because I had told you that my favorite singer was Beyonce, and we had to watch the Beyonce Experience on TV. But now that we got money, I got to take you to Vegas to go see Usher at his residency. What's going on? Well, I've been loving Beyonce since she started calling herself Sasha Fierce. Why I got to go to Vegas now? You know, but that's the reality. You do what you got to do to keep your lady happy. You know. So, like I said, y'all don't have to answer to the Freeman family. Y'all don't have to have those things. And again, anybody would be a fool to not consider 100% salary increase.
But
anybody would be a fool.
That's what we're talking about in this situation.
If the idea is
every now and then, there have been people in the history because of relationship.
Yeah, and I was just about to say
how they've been treated that have balked at the money and decided to stay. And that's why treating him.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this.
It's important.
I'll tell you this. I don't judge anybody or say, hey, you dumb as a bag of bricks for turning down money or taking money or whatever the case may be. It's your life to live, right? When Dennis Schroeder went down there at 84 and ended up signing for 4 later, it's your life to live, brother. If that's how you feel it. When Latrell Sprewell turned down 29 and said, I got a family to feed and never played in the NBA again. It's your life. Again. It's your life. I'm not going to judge you for how you decide to live. What I will say is this. If you want him to stay at your university, give him what he needs. If you're saying, hey, we're not going to raise you up to 10 a year, he at least should not have to deal with the OC with veto power. That's what? What are we doing here? He at least should have all of anything that any other coach has, he should have. He should have it. Point blank period. Because Notre Dame ain't one of them, you know, there are.
Or when he says, this is the OC I want.
Go get him.
Go get him. Well, don't be haggling and
go get him.
Like we can paint the narrative, the story, because I know they came out and said, well, we went back to him after the misunderstanding and he decided to stay. I'm sure he decided to stay after all of that. Yeah, I'm sure he did.
Again, go get him. Go get him. You're not a little boy university, or let me not say little boy. You're not a financially strapped university, shall I say? Because there are some. Hey, listen, if Kyle Coach want a different OC, brother, we got food at home. Okay, you understand? You got new OC money. You gonna take the pay cut out of yourself because their athletics department is running at like a $50 million deficit or something like that. Like they're deep in the red.
In the red.
But something's telling me, I have a sneaky suspicion, and don't call me a pocket watch or anything, but I have a sneaky suspicion that Notre Dame's running in the black. Got a real sneaky suspicion about that. So.
You would be quite correct. They, as Jack Swarbrick said on his way out the door, we are good stewards.
Yeah. And you know what they say. If you're a good steward over a few things, he'll give you many. And I think
That's
Notre
right.
Dame has been given the many.
They
I think
have.
they've been given the many. So when you have the many, don't be selfish with the many. Give your coach what he needs out of the many to build a winner. Let him build a winner.
That's all.
That's
a
all.
bar.
That's all. Yeah, we ain't
That's all.
asking for you to back up the Brinks truck every time he wants to hire a position coach. We're saying for those two, the ones that are beside him, the one that's calling the blitzes and the dogs and the base and what we want to install, the inside zone, the outside zone, power, banana, those two, they need to get paid.
They can juvie for him. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Juvie for him a little bit. Back it up.
Yeah. Hey, if you got to do it, I ain't mad at you now. I ain't mad at you, you know. So
back it up. Give him what he needs.
Absolutely.
Or is that Missy? I got what you want.
Hey.
Do what you need. Oh, that was Nicole Ray. That was Nicole Ray. Produced by Missy.
I was about to say, I don't think Missy got singing credits on that one, but I got you. I know where you're going. Yeah, so that's how I feel about that. Again, it doesn't matter if he was talking about Michigan State or NC State or New Mexico State. Hey, if they if the funds right, they'll be there every night. And that's what he got to do. That, I ain't never going to get mad at nobody. Same thing I said about Coach Doran when people were talking about, Tennessee's looking at giving them X amount. Okay, well, if they can give them something that we can't match,
then hey, man.
We can't match it. But if we can match it and choose to lose a coach that we really want over not matching it, then that's on us. That's our fault.
Hey, let's get ready to get out of here, man. I appreciate you. We got the petty train coming up in a few seconds. But I want to get your thoughts on the big matchups this weekend, bro.
Let's do it.
Woo! It's a whole bunch of trash talking coming from the Show Me State.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like this is their opportunity to show, hey, we almost had them last year at our place. We coming in between the hedges. Missouri, Luther Burden, who I love.
Yeah.
They take on the Georgia Bulldogs. I told Malik, I said, greatness, you know what greatness is? Greatness is when questions pop up, you find the answer.
Yeah.
And without Brock Bowers last week against Florida, it seemed like when everybody was talking, Georgia found a whole bunch of answers.
Oh, absolutely.
How do you see this one playing out?
This is a Coach Drink stand account. I love Eli Drinkwitz. I think that's a bad man. If you ever see a fan edit of Eli Drinkwitz, I made it. It's me.
I love his press conferences. I'm gonna be honest.
He's a great guy. For those of you who don't know, he used to be the offensive coordinator at NC State. I've chatted with him multiple times, chopped the building, talk shop, all that. Phenomenal human being. Outside of football, just a phenomenal human being. With that being said, phenomenal human being ain't gonna get it done on this one. Okay. Now, I'm not sure if Georgia is going to cover the spread if it's something crazy. I think that Coach Drink is going to inspire those boys to keep it close. But Georgia has reached that boogeyman status to where the best thing we can do is they kind of bore us with how great they are at times. And we're like, oh, they don't look great. They look human. They're only winning by 21-14 this year. And then they're like, oh, okay. Y'all are saying that we're not good? Great. We're going to spank that baby, put him to sleep. We're going to burp him, go on about our way. And now we're going to move on to the next one. And I think that that's the level that this Georgia team is at. I think Mizzou can keep it close. I think they can keep it interesting. I don't think they pull out the win. But I would love to see Coach Drake having a parade inside his city. I'd love to see it.
I agree with you. And the reason I agree with you is because Coach Drink ticked me off. Because I thought I was going to be able to put up some emojis. I was getting GIBBS ready. And then he let Brian Kelly sneak away with one. Well, I was laughing in the first half. I was like, whoo. Because, I love to see Brian Kelly suffer.
Oh, who doesn't? Who doesn't love to see Brian Kelly suffer? Who doesn't love it?
And Drink had him in the first half, and I was like, oh, this is going good. Then they started letting Jay Daniels and Neighbors and them get loose.
Yeah.
And they let them steal one and sneak out of Columbia.
Absolutely.
But then they came back, and I saw Kentucky go up on them big early. But then I saw the response, and I was like, you know what? That's a mentally tough team. So this Missouri team might be a little bit different this year. But I'm with you, man. Going in between them hedges, it's Axe Hendon Hooker and that Tennessee squad that couldn't be stopped.
Yeah.
Like, it's just something about Kirby. Like, And that program, like you said, man, it's almost like they are becoming, like we asked the question, like, can anybody do what Bama did? And then we thought Clemson might be on that road.
Yeah.
And then here comes Kirby. And I know it's like early on, but it's like, yo, this is eerily similar.
Yeah, for sure.
To the beginning of Saban's run. This is eerily similar, man. It's like you said, you get bored, you almost become disrespectful.
Yep.
You know, you start predicting, like, you know, people are predicting, like, what's his name? Mullen on ESPN, like Florida's gonna win. Like, man, Florida's gonna do what?
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like, every time this team gets challenged, especially in the media, and people say, yo, man, this is it, man. They're on upset alert.
Yeah.
They find a way to respond big. Like, they lead, like Coach Boone, like not Coach Boone, but coach, the other coach from Remember the Titans, when he was like, leave no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like Kirby's like, yo, leave no doubt.
Yep. He has
gonna
those
go
moments
out here and leave no doubt.
Yeah.
That's why I laughed at Dan Lannon when he did what he did to Dion. I'm like, bro, Georgia just spanked you by 50 in a Georgia Dome a year ago. Like, relax.
But
like,
it's you know what that is. You know, when the intimidator cannot intimidate, what happens? They become intimidated. He knew that team was gonna. At the end of the day, I came into this season, and again, Dion is a prime example of many things that we've talked about in this podcast earlier, where people jump to one side or the other, where it's like, oh, he's gonna be the greatest thing in the world. They're gonna go undefeated this year, or oh, that's a bad team that he took over. They're gonna be bad this year. They're not gonna win a game. I said their ceiling is at about 6 games. They've got some good players. They've got some really, really good pieces. They've got some good foundational pieces. But at the end of the day, your house ain't just 3 load-bearing walls and that's it. Like, you need more than that to make a complete furnished home. You need the drapes. You need the couch. You need the TV. You need all the things to make a fully furnished home. He doesn't have those yet. But he's got enough for you to have a roof over your head, per se. You know what I mean? So I thought that he could get to 6, and I'm like, yeah, I still stand by that now. They're exactly 4-4. They're right on that road to 6.
I'm going to come out on a limb because I don't know if you saw the post game of the Cal game last week. But someone asked Caleb Williams, how would you describe your recent struggles?
Yeah.
And Caleb Williams made a face and he said, I don't know what you're talking about. I had one bad game. He said, Notre Dame got me. He was very honest. He was like, they got me. But he was like, I've been throwing for 300, running for touchdowns, not turning the ball over. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And it got real quiet in the room. And I realized, like, Notre Dame has that effect on people. Like, the way they beat Clemson, you talked about Clemson didn't recover. The way they beat USC, a lot of people were pretty much just automatically out on USC. And then they lose a close game to Utah, where Utah kicks the game-winning field goal. And I looked at the standings, and USC is in second place with 1 loss in the conference, with a struggling Michael Penix and Washington team coming to the Coliseum.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to myself, like, after all of that, USC is 1 big win at home.
Yeah.
From pretty much controlling their own destiny. And pretty much saying, hey, it's us in Oregon when we face each other.
Yeah. And what did I'm looking at that USC team and I'm saying to myself, they could potentially have themselves a Thanos moment on their hands coming up here where they, everybody did everything they could. Everybody threw everything they could at them and said that they was terrible and all that. And
After
they could look at the end of
this,
all this for a drop of blood.
Where did it bring you?
For a drop of blood. Right back here to me.
Back here to me.
And that's the reality of what we could be looking at here, right? We're looking at all of these teams and talking about how good they are, or what they are or not. I mean, it wasn't just that they lost to Notre Dame. It was how they lost to Notre Dame. And so going beyond that, USC has an opportunity in front of it. If they run the table, nobody's going to remember the 2 losses for the most part. Like nobody's gonna remember, oh my God, Caleb Williams played so poorly in the Utah game, or he played so poorly in this game. And even in those games now, Notre Dame, absolutely. Your offense putting up 20 points in today's college football, unacceptable. Against Utah, if you put up 30 points against Utah's defense, your defense ought to be all right to hold who is their starting quarterback? He's been hurt all year. I can't remember the young man's name right now. Cam Risingless offense. If you can't hold a Cam Risingless offense to under 30, that's on you, player. That's on you. So I don't know what dirt that defensive coordinator got on him, but
Alex Grinch.
I don't know. Alex Grinch got everybody jokes about where the bodies are buried. He literally knows.
He knows.
And he puts a note up on Lincoln's door.
And those might be bodies that are back in Norman. That might go back to the Oklahoma days.
They are literal bodies in Norman somewhere that he puts up the geolocation to. He puts up the exact coordinate.
Or he's the alibi for Lincoln when he builds.
Yeah.
It's something. It's something crazy.
It's got to be something because he's blown it plenty of times for Oklahoma, and now he's doing it for USC, but he keep a job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love to have a job like that. You just kind of show up and, regardless of how bad your performance is, ain't no KPI, ain't no OKR. You don't got to do nothing. You just collect the check, brother. Just exist and collect the check. I got you.
Another big matchup this week. I believe we talked about Clemson, Notre Dame. Oh, did you say you didn't break the game down? Who you think?
Oh, I said
on that one.
I said Notre Dame.
No. I meant USC Washington.
Oh, USC Washington. I think Penix. I think Penix is he's got it. I think that Washington team is special. I'm on the Lucky Lefty podcast, so I got to go with the Lefty. Penix is different. He is special. It's an offense a lot like Tennessee's in that they love the deep ball. They don't try to we're gonna lull you to sleep and set you up and then hit the deep. No, Roman Dungy is going over your bean top right now. That offense wants to go over the top of you right now. You've got to stop it immediately. I think that they get it done. I just don't think that USC has the defense to do it, but I think that they can't keep up on the scoreboard.
Texas A&M, man, Jimbo has to be under a lot of pressure. He faces Ole Miss trying to save his job, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's coaching for against Ole Miss.
He's coaching for his life. And I say his life is done for here. Ole Miss gets this win in a close one. Texas A&M hadn't beaten anybody that makes me say that they're special all year. Ole Miss, although they kind of fall into that category as well a little bit, they've at least been really competitive against their games, against really good teams. So I got Ole Miss taking this one.
Whew. Prime time. The first Saturday in November. If you don't know any other matchup, these two teams are facing off. Alabama and LSU. Alabama looking for revenge at home with an LSU offense that's coming in smoking hot.
Yeah.
Can the Crimson Tide with their edge rushers give Jaden Daniels problems and slow them down?
Not really. They can contain them, but they're not going to stop them. And here's what I think happens. Dallas and company, they give them problems. They slow them down enough. And Money Milroe and this offense kind of figure it out, and they control the ball with that running game that they got. Brian Kelly has never been it's my fault guy, and I don't expect him to change that after this game. I think that he's in a situation where it's coming out more and more now that players just don't like playing for the guy. They don't, he's not a guy that's beloved by any means by the old coaches on the staff or anything like that. As a matter of fact, you've heard people talk about, hey, this is a coach that I don't want to be anything like when I have my own program. So with all that in mind, I think that LSU is just, I'm not going to say they're a rudderless ship because the rudder is Daniels, and he keeps them pointing in the right direction. I just don't think that they can get there with Brian Kelly as their head coach.
I think Daniels is the perfect example. And really, you can go all the way back to Joe Burrow. If you're going to go to the quarterback via the portal, that dude is more than likely going to be better in year 2 than he will be in year 1.
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Like,
They get more comfortable with the system. They get more reps
mhm,
with the guys. They see the defenses. They see all the things in the conference. Because 9 times out of 10, you're transferring out of conference. So you're
yeah.
seeing defenses that you never saw before and all that. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think Hudson Card would be better next year for Purdue.
Yep.
Quinn Ewers has been better for Texas, even though he can't stay healthy.
Mhm.
Yo, shout out to Malik Murphy and the matchup they have. I think Malik Murphy made the best business decision because as soon as Arch comes in, everybody was like, well, Malik Murphy's gone. And Malik Murphy's like, I'm not leaving Sark.
Yeah.
If I'm going to trust my development to
Yeah.
somebody, it's going to be Sark. Like, who else am I going to? Who am I transferring to?
If Lincoln Riley in on the table, I'd put
Right.
Sark right there behind him. I'll put
That's
Sark.
it.
If you're talking quarterback development, Lincoln is he's the quarterback guru supreme. But everybody else of the rest of the group, Sark is definitely one of those ones that you got to be on the lookout for.
And that's it. So even though Caleb might be gone next year, Malachi Nelson is right there on the roster. And I'm like, you know, people are like, well, he's not as good as Caleb. And dude, that's Lincoln.
And also, you got to understand that Lincoln doesn't fit square pegs in the round holes. He figures out what you're good at, and he works with that.
Yeah.
He made Jalen Hurts look like an entirely different player than what we saw.
Totally different player.
He worked within what is Jalen actually good at? Not what do I think he's good at? Not what did the scouts say he's good at? What is he actually good at? Let's figure out ways to exploit defenses while also doing what he's good at. And that's how they won ball games.
Ken Gibbs, he's the best, man. Co-host, Locked On ACC, Locked On Wolfpack. Matter of fact, this dude does everything. He just doesn't do football over there. This dude is about hoops. He's from Detroit. So you already know.
Hey, listen, I'm from Hockey Town now. You know I can talk some hockey too. You know what I mean? Jameson Williams.
You know, we got the best sweater in the whole NHL. What are you talking about?
Watch out, man. Ain't nothing as clean as that clean red and
You know,
white.
they might have changed conferences and divisions and everything, but that rivalry is still real now. Let y'all borrow Chris Chelios to get a Stanley Cup. I mean,
borrow.
Yeah,
we took him to the next level. Listen,
y'all. Wait a minute. Y'all took. Well, yeah, you did give him a chance to win.
I was just about to say we took him to the next level now. Yeah. And he got a restaurant out in Dearborn, not too far from my house. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. I've been to Chelios spot a couple times. Chris Chelios.
Oh, the one I haven't been to. The one in Chicago. That's right across from the United, right down the street from the United Center. If you haven't been, it's absolutely amazing.
The one I went to that was right outside Detroit was amazing as well. It was amazing.
Okay.
So yeah, it was good stuff. It was good. I got to go to the one in Chicago.
So all I'm saying is, you know, y'all kind of ran away from us once Kane and Taze showed up. That's all I'm saying. Y'all wanted to get out of the division and everything.
Hey, listen, we did what we had to do, okay? Y'all went on that little championship run. We said, oh, wait a minute now. We're in rebuilding mode, okay? We done went 20-something years. Let me tell you something. I started off my life as a Red Wings fan, okay? And up until I darn near graduated from college, there was never one time they missed the playoffs. People were saying, oh, the San Antonio Spurs got a great streak going. And I said, well, I know of another playoff streak, something similar, you know what I mean? So we was doing the thing over there in Joe Louis Arena. But you know, now we done switched over to the LCA, and them boys still balling. They still getting it done.
Let me tell you how honest my pops is, or was with me. I couldn't stand y'all with the octopus. I couldn't stand you.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, these dudes are stupid. They go buy octopus before the game, throw it on the ice. And my father said, well, if they that confident that somebody's gonna get a hat trick.
Yeah. And
I said, man, come on. He said, hey, son, I'm just telling you, they must be pretty good.
Hey, now.
People are paying good money because they expect to throw that octopus on the ice. Because somebody's going to show up and put 3 in the net. And I said, well, you're right.
Let me tell you something. Between the Demolition Man, the Magic Man, Henrik Zetterberg, we had them all, baby. We had them all. We had some bad boys. And you know what? The good times are coming back with Dylan Larkin, Lucas Raymond and company. We got some guys on the squad now that we're going to get it right. All we needed was a little bit of help behind the net. We need a little bit of help minding that net, and I think we got something figured out. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, we may have had our point streak to open the season broken, But damn it, we one of the best out. We one of the best out right now. That young team, the guys are playing, is working, baby.
They are.
It's working.
They are. Shout out to Yisen. Shout
Absolutely.
out to Yisen. He's doing a
Absolutely.
great
Shout out
job.
to
He
Steve
came
Ball.
from Florida, right? He started out
I
as
believe
executive
so.
in Florida
Yeah.
and came back to Detroit.
Mhm.
Shout out to that. Once again, our guy Ken, man, he's about to tap into basketball season.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
ACC hoops, North
Hey,
Carolina
listen,
State.
I got to head out. It has
Yeah.
been an absolute blast chatting with you. It's been a blast
Oh.
being on the Lucky Lefty pod, but you already know how we coming, man. Anytime you need me on, anytime,
Hey,
whenever y'all
I'm
ready to
telling
start that
people,
lifestyle pod, I got
I
you,
don't
man.
know. I don't know what we're going to do, but we got to
Mhm.
make sure we cross the T's, dot the I's, check the contracts, and yo,
Absolutely.
it's coming. You better
Absolutely.
believe it.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, you know my number. You got my
Yes,
information,
sir.
man. I come running every time I see your name on that
Yes, sir.
contact. So, hey, it's been great
Our boy
talking to the
Ken
Lucky Lefty
Gibbs.
crowd.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you,
We going
bro.
up here.
Notre Dame fans, once again, Ken Gibbs right here, Lucky Lefty Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, CFV Nation, presented by Twisted Tea. YouTube, subscribe, thumbs up, smash it, hit the notification bell. Don't forget, also, check in with us each and every day, 11 a.m. We spin it different. If you missed the great Corey Minor yesterday, go check it out. Man, if you want to hear a conversation, and if you thought you knew the importance of one Lou Holt to the Notre Dame program and his football players, I challenge you to watch the Corey Minor conversation we had with Corey Minor on yesterday. It will change your perspective or increase your perspective on Lou Holtz and his time at Notre Dame. Bless yourself and check that out. All right. Tomorrow is our prediction show, Malik's Three Keys, amongst other things. I'm not sure. I have to check with Malik and get his travel schedule because he might be leaving tonight or he might be leaving tomorrow morning. So we might have to push things back to the afternoon or the evening. We'll let you know via the Twitter page and your YouTube page as well. You know what time it is.
Petticoat, 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 Junction.
It's time to get petty
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
and fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty history? Petty Junction.
Petty Junction, pettiest story of the day brought to you by Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com, that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. I want to talk about this Blueface Matthew Stafford wife situation. I know I'm late to the party on this. This happened before at the United Center last year where you had an entertainment artist bring in exotic dancers to private suites. Now, at a professional event. Now, people have the right, especially if they pay for a PSL, to invite and bring whomever they want to bring. And anything besides that is shame, in my opinion. But the activities that take part with young children in the building, I'm wholeheartedly on the side of Matthew Stafford's wife. And Blueface and other entertainers, man, that think that stuff is cool. And in my opinion, you kind of look like a clown. That's just my opinion. And like, when it was brought to my attention, I was like, yo, I have to put this dude. I mean, I could have put Blueface on a petty train multiple times throughout this year. But yeah, man. And I understand people feel like, man, when they spend that money, you know, they feel like they should have the right to do whatever they want to do. This is America. But at some point, you should be able to show your maturity in your wealth being used. That's just not the way. That's just not. So just be better, man. Just be better. Just be better, man. You guys could have very much enjoyed the game, danced a little bit, but to take it to the extent that you took it to, the ambiance, the music is great. I haven't heard one bad thing about anybody who's attended a football game at SoFi, whether it be NFL or college. So, Blueface, got to put you on the petty train, man. LL, everybody that tried to stick around, I think IB got going. Great show, great breakdown. Clemson, Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman situation, food service and restaurants. We gave culture, we gave everything. When I got Ken Gibbs, Malik jumped on once he was done with his pre-production, and then he had to go handle some things with his sons. So, as I said before, Lucky Lefty podcast, man. We give you everything right here. Notre Dame majority, college football, sports, culture. That's what we're here for, to entertain. For left, our special guest, Ken Gibbs, today. Lock in with us, man. We'll see you guys tomorrow for another edition of the Lucky Lefty Pod.